Good morning.
Morning.
Morning. And who have we got in the bottom corner? A special guest today, Ron, from Eden Corals. Thanks for joining us all the way from, where
Scotland.
are you? Say, wash my mouth out. Where, Scotland? Okay.
Yeah, West Coast of Scotland. Sorry, I'm a bit nervous because I picked my nose just as the countdown was coming and I was worried there was a big fucking snotter across my cheek. So I'm glad I got this new light so everyone can see all the...
Oh, dear. Thanks for joining us, mate. Appreciate your input this morning. So, yeah, it should be quite a topical and interesting one. A little bit blue, so if there's anybody, any children, you might want to put CBBS on in the other room.
No, bring him in.
I thought you meant his light scheduling.
Oh, dear.
Bit blue.
I feel like I've turned my laptop on and I've got Frankie Boyle in the room. Anyway.
We got a nice geographical spread across the country today, haven't we? We've got
we are
Midlands,
North.
Yeah. Where are you, Tom? Sorry.
I'm in Rotherham.
I mean, he had to think about that.
No, I'm trying to think. No, I was actually trying to think of anything good that comes from Rotherham, because there isn't. It's just full of crime, riots, and paedophile rings. That's about it. Sorry.
Well, is that on the welcome to Rotherham sign?
Yeah.
Was there not a cigarette company called Rotherham or something?
Rothmans, that was.
Rothmans.
Yeah, not Rotherham. No, yeah, Rotherham trying to do that's the dyslexic version.
Oh, dear.
Anyway, yeah, Rotherham, mate. Yeah, South Yorkshire. So yeah, not far from Sheffield.
Well, thanks for
10 minutes from Sheffield.
I really appreciate you having me on. I think this will be the last time, but we'll see.
We'll let the viewers decide, mate. Don't be daft. Be fine.
If you want to give us a thumbs
down to kick him off.
Yeah, thumbs down.
First poll, should Ron stay?
No.
For the whole 2 hours. Oh, dear. So, tell us a bit about yourself, Ron, for the viewers that might not have heard of you or seen you before. I have, obviously, but...
So, I've been in the hobby maybe 8 years, so I'm really, really new. Expert on nothing, reefing clown, that's me. So I own a garden centre here on the west coast of Scotland. We're going to be moving into year 8 this October. We do outdoor aquatics. Plan is to do indoor aquatics. And then Eden Corals is something that has just come from loving corals. I started growing corals. I didn't have anywhere to put them. So for my birthday, Bernadette bought me a frag tank. The frag tank then got upgraded and the quantity of corals are growing and growing and growing and growing. And I was like, well, I need to stop throwing these in the wheelie bin. So because I don't have many Scottish reefing friends or friends in general, I was just throwing them in the bin. And I know that sounds absolutely criminal and disgusting, but I had nowhere else for them to go.
This is live corals, though. Sorry to interject. Live ones, not dead ones. You weren't just killing them and throwing them away for everybody listening.
No, chunks of live, worth quite a lot of money corals.
Wow.
So I eventually started supplying my local fish store, but he doesn't always want them. So I'd just be taking hundreds of corals up in a great big vat and giving them for free.
Wow.
But now, just recently, I've started sending them down to England. I sent a box to Rob, but I'm dipping my toe in the water.
You're a fish man. You shouldn't get them. I should get them, not you. He's a fish man.
He was my friend first. Leave him alone.
Tom, wow. I will send you a box of corals.
Oh, mate, you don't have to. It's fine. Don't worry about it, honestly. No. So anyway, go on, carry on. So you grow all these corals. Talk to me about how do you grow them? What's your setup at the garden centre? What's your lighting and everything else, if you don't mind for a minute?
So none of it's public. It's in that room right behind me.
Right.
That room there.
I thought it was your missus on the sunbed. Sorry, but I could see a leg hanging out.
It's not a
As
leg.
soon as she said, "When does that start?" 10. I'm fucking out of here. Is that your fish mutant? Yes, it is. Yeah, I've got a custom clear seal tank just in the room behind me. It's only 6 feet by 1 foot deep by 2 feet front to back, and it's just full of racks and absolutely rammed full of corals. I can't get rid of the coral quick enough.
Wow.
They're all touching. I can't space them out enough to get the tangs to eat all the algae. Yeah, I mean, it's a good problem to have. Expansion's going to have to happen because it's working. I'm not interested in making £1 million from it. If I can spread some really nice chunky corals around the UK, because that's something I'm very conscious of, is the fact that I want to sell big frags, not massive things. I don't want to sell. There's the market in America now. You actually see like tours axial poly of an or something, and it's $200. And if you've got the money, fine, great, fire in, brilliant. But I'd like to slightly change that up and only sell larger pieces. That'd be my cup of tea.
So, what do you class fish size?
Depends how big your fucking hands are, Tom.
Yeah.
No, I think in the market in America they would call them mini colonies, maybe.
Yeah.
Something like that. I mean, Rob.
Yeah, sort of 2-3 inches, that sort of. 75 mil, somewhere around there.
Just chunky.
rather than the 10 mil frags that you see quite often.
You should call them Billy. You should call them Billies. Call them Billies, Rob.
Bellies.
Billies.
Billies. Billy Connolly's.
Billy Connolly.
Jesus.
He's from your way, isn't he? You have a frag or a Billy.
I mean, he's from Scotland, Tom. No, I mean,
I'm not saying he lives next door. I'm just saying.
No, all my American pals think it's hilarious how small Scotland is. So anything from Scotland is like right next door to me.
Yeah, and you must know them.
Yes.
Yeah. Went to school, all that.
Yeah.
Okay. So your tank then, how do you run it then? I don't want to go into too much into your secrets, but what's your setup? Have you got anything old school on there? T5 or anything you running or no?
It's Genset Radians, Neptune, MP40s, temperature controller, skimmer, nothing major. I did run ozone for a little while for water clarity, but I've actually found it easier to control the growth of the corals not having super gin clear water. When I went to ozone, there was a little bit of scorch. I couldn't believe the difference. Ozone is incredible if it's used correctly and safely.
Yeah.
It's the tank is fully custom, so I've got 2 emergency drains, 1 huge big drain, 2 returns. I've gone for redundancy because my first frag tank was a bit of an abortion, to be totally honest. It was just a glass box with a hang-on weir from Skims, and external filter. At one point, I had a canister filter on it, so that didn't go well.
Is that from your freshwater days, or
no? I don't have a freshwater day, I'm afraid.
Oh, really? Good.
Freshwater,
boo.
Yeah. I had about a really bad depression, and I decided that I needed something that would take every single bit of my brain out with work to completely consume my brain to get away from a depression. So I decided, with absolutely no knowledge of reefing, fish tanks, anything, I went and bought a 400-litre already running reef and brought all of the water, the fish, the corals, the rock, all of the equipment home, and had to set it up with zero knowledge.
Wow.
And I tell you something, it fucking worked.
Yeah.
But I didn't even know you had to use reef salt. So Bernadette's getting the table salt out the kitchen.
I was going to say you're pouring Saxo salt in.
Yeah. I'm like, I better just Google that.
Tesco's dishwasher salt.
On the old Google. And I'm like, oh, fuck, no. No. We need to get to a shop before they shut. So yeah, it
Wow.
was the steepest learning curve ever, but it was
Wow.
amazing. And I wish I could go back to that actually, because it was so much fun.
Cool.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, we'll talk about that in a bit, because that's obviously the topic of today's one is meat. Is obviously setting it up. So let me just jump into the chat and say hello to people who've made the effort to join us this Sunday morning. There were a lot more. There were a lot more watching until you started talking, Ron. So thanks for that. But we're all right. It's to be expected.
He's used to it.
Excuse me. Morning, John Boy. Thanks for joining us, mate. Hope you're well. Over in Skeggy. Siggy Stardust, morning. Zach, I'm not going to pronounce your second name, but thanks for joining us, Zach.
Hey, Zach.
Thanks for coming on. Liam, morning, Liam. Jill's Aquarium. We've got Lee in the house. Morning, Lee.
Morning,
Hope you're having a good weekend, mate. UK 120, morning. Thanks for joining us. Alex must have set his alarm clock, not only up till 12.
Wow.
Thanks for joining us, mate.
Yeah.
Hope you're having a good one. Mark LFC, morning, Mark. Thanks for joining us this morning. Gaza's Reef, morning, Gaza. Hope your tank's doing well, mate. Rama, morning.
Morning.
The Zoo, morning, buddy. Hope you're well. And a few more. Critical Reef, morning. On Sunday morning. Oh, here he is. He made the effort. Morning, Reef. Thumbs up as well. A Scottish sausage on the barbecue this morning, I see. Let's hope Rangers in today. Right, okay.
Never watched a football match in my life.
Right, okay. And I think I'll go back to the comments in a bit. Oh, morning. Paul's joined us. Morning, Paul. Hope you're having a good weekend, buddy. And Christian's joined us. Morning, mate. Yeah. I'm sure he's sorted his body. I hope he's sorted his body clock out. He's had an absolute nightmare with one of his tanks in the back of the back of the shop, the DT leaking.
Ain't had a fun couple of days, has he? It looked horrendous.
Yeah. Well, he thought it was a bulk. Thought it was a bulkhead, and then it turned out it wasn't. So yeah, it was. I think he went in. Did he go in Thursday night, midnight, something like that, to check on everything? And the one of the bottom seals had gone on a 8-foot tank.
Yeah. Was it Friday night, wasn't it?
Was it Friday night? Well, it would have been. I think he went in. Oh, I can't remember. Yeah, it was Friday night. Yeah, you're right.
After the stream on Friday, wasn't it?
Mm. Yeah, it was. You're right.
No,
you're right. Thanks for correcting me, Rob. Anyway,
that's what I'm here for. Keep you online.
What are you here for? So then, setting up a new Reef Aquarium. How do you want to play it? Do's and don'ts? Biggest mistakes? Best bit of advice? Anybody want to jump in?
I guess if we just say we set up our first tank and then we go from there, shall we?
Okay.
So, I mean, Ron set his up by just stealing someone else's, by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
Just build it out on a cart. plug it into my lounge. Job
Don't
done.
mind me.
So you bought your first tank, Ron, second hand then, interestingly enough, yeah? Yeah. I did mine. Rob?
Brand new.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. What was the first tank then, Ron? Sorry, size wise, what was it?
It was an Aqua One. I think it was 400 liters. An Aqua Reef.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
Was it really deep with a thick rim around the top and a thick one around the bottom?
Yes.
Yeah, I had the same. That was the same tank I had as my first one.
Way.
Cabinet doors like that. Blue pipe work underneath.
Yes. It was actually a beautiful tank.
It was just really deep to put your hand in. You need to stand on some ladders. Yeah,
So-
that was our first tank.
Are they
Salty
sumped?
arm.
Yeah. Aqua 1 400, I think it was mine, 400 litres.
Yeah. That's bizarre.
Exact same tank. Bizarre, isn't it? Yeah.
Can I steal it
Yeah.
from you?
It wasn't his tank, was it? Yes.
Yeah. No, but what I will say is it weighed a ton because of the bracing around it. It was very heavy for its size. Very heavy.
It was a
Yeah.
tank.
Yeah, it was pretty much.
Did it have a full canopy over the top as well, built in?
Yeah, it had little black plastic opening doors with T5 fitting
Right.
inside it. It was.
Yeah, it is.
I really liked it.
Roasted
It was.
toasty in there then.
Yes,
It was. It was.
But
Yeah.
in Scotland, that's fine, Rob.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ambient temperature of like 3.
I've actually got, while I'll let you guys just waffle for a minute. I'm going to plug my hard drive in because I've actually got some of the pictures. I've got pictures of it. Yeah, just 1 second.
It's funny enough because I've actually asked my mum whether she can try and dig out some pictures of my dad's tank in our lounge from 1976. I think that tank went in.
Oof.
So I mean,
wow.
That'd be quite good to see. I mean, we must have some, obviously, because it was in the lounge, so we must have some pictures. My dad was quite into photography for a while as well, so he took loads of pictures. So I don't know if that's just a side number he had going on. I don't know what he was doing with that camera, but anyway. But I'd imagine there'd be some.
It's so funny that I was thinking that. I was like, you better be careful that, you know, he's got all these faculties, because if he's digging through those photos, there might be some you don't want to see.
Yeah, could be some shockers, and I don't just mean stone quarrels.
Oh dear me.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, I've got memories of that tank. Because I would have been, what was that, 70? I would have been 10 in 75, 10 or 11 when that tank was up. So all I can remember is endless dead stuff. Lots of swearing from my dad, and just constantly going back and going to the shop and buying new livestock. But yeah, I'd like to see some pictures of it, because obviously under gravel filters. Ozone on it. I can't remember much.
Ozone.
Fish, humbug dams. Do you remember those things?
I do.
Yeah, those would be so common. Yeah. So I'd like to try and dig out some pictures. You found yours, Tom? You got some?
I'm just looking now while I'm listening to you both. But no, there is a picture I found. Hang on. This was in our old house. 1 second. Let me see if I can share this with you.
I think it was Softies, was it?
Started off with them. That was the old house we used to have. If you can see that, there it is. My first tank.
Oh wow, yeah. That's pretty good.
With a TMC, that looks like a Luminaire. That was my first LED, a TMC Luminaire LED back in the day when they first came out. Yeah. Oh dear. So when you got yours, Ron, what was the first sort of shock, other than Googling the salt, all jokes aside, what was the first sort of shock with getting a new tank and setting it up? What was the biggest sort of, I suppose, learning curve almost?
The biggest learning curve was I paid X amount for the tank, brought it home, set it up, and then went to buy something else and went, "Oh, what?" And Bernadette was like, "What? How much is the salt?" That was the biggest shock, was the financial things, because to get away from the T5, and all joking aside, the T5s were too hot. So I then went LED, and I saw a video on YouTube of the Max Spec Razor and thought it was like the coolest thing I'd ever seen. So I went, right, I'm getting that. Went up to my local fish store, which is Waterworld in Paisley Road West in Glasgow. Amazing shop. And I asked how much it was, and Bernadette left. She said, right, so that light, just that light there, is £200 more than the entire tank you just bought. Am I right?
Yeah.
You are right.
So I said, order me one, please.
Yeah.
So ordered it.
Yeah.
And went.
I think that's one of the shocks that I think a lot of people get into, especially if they've gone from trout, which most people do, or freshwater, is the sudden increase in cost. I mean, we talk about this on a Friday night quite often, and there are some products out there that the minute you stick a fish on it, the price has doubled, and you can buy it elsewhere for a fraction when it comes to dry goods. But a lot of the equipment is it's pretty hefty. It's serious investments, which is why the second-hand market has always been a big one for me. Facebook Marketplace, eBay, whatever.
Yeah, big savings to be made.
There is.
I mean, there are considerable savings to be made, really, if you look at the cost of brand new. And certain products, they got a long life, really. Like LEDs last for years, don't they, really?
Yeah.
You don't have any issues with the fan, but the actual fixture itself, if you buy a decent brand, it's going to give you probably 10 years.
Yeah.
There's still people running Gem 3s and still doing reasonably well with them.
One of the first things I did with the Aqua One, the first tank, was I had this sudden obsession that I don't know where it came from, not just corals, but was live rock. I don't know why, but there was a craze that like the more rock you had, the more corals you could therefore have. I don't know why that analogy or that equation came into my head. But so I literally started filling that tank I showed you a picture of, which was very simple. Started with Kenya trees and mushrooms. And like you say, you go, I mean, back then, probably what was that, 10, 12 years ago? There were more LFSs. They had stocked more. There was more choice. So naturally got you hooked. But no, this is what it looked like. I'm just looking through some of the pictures and cringing. This is what it looked like.
Got a tank full of rubble.
Oh, it won't let. Why won't you open? It's crashed on me. I know. Here we go. This is what it looked like. I don't know when this was. So again, where are we? Window. Look at the state of this.
Wow.
Yes, that is a tank full of rock.
I mean, that is a tank of its time, though, isn't it?
Yeah, that was. And that was what it was from. And that, if you remember, Ron, the tank was that deep. You struggled to do a decent aquascape because you had the height, but you didn't really have the depth that much. Yeah. So you had to build it like upright. So I just literally built rock at like a 45 sort of gradient all the way to the top of the weir. That
reminds me of Jake Adams. Tank in the Reef studio where he put what did he put on it?
Intentionally though, didn't he?
He did it intentionally.
And then
was it Scully's or something he put on it?
Yeah.
He made it by it. Yeah, and it looks very similar. So you were way ahead of your time, Tom.
Absolutely.
Oh, thanks, mate. Yeah. Thanks, mate. Yeah. I mean, there's some corals in there that you probably couldn't even get these days. They might look crap, but you probably couldn't get them now. And that was live. And when I look at that rock, that was all live rock from a shop.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't
weird metrics back then, though, as well, didn't they? You had to have a certain poundage of rock per litre of tank, and it was incredibly high, wasn't it? Which is why you ended up with a tank where you can't see the back pane because it's just piled with rock.
And then you think it will get better the more I pile in. And next thing you know, you're guiding a fucking JCB into your living room. Just tip it in there, mate.
Just tip it in. Yeah. That's it.
Honestly, I was, Tom, 2 peas in a pod. I was exactly the same. My dad was like, what do you want for your birthday? Live rock. How much? A big fuck ton of it.
Yeah, as much as I can get.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah. And in a year's time, it's held together by detritus.
Yes. Sponges. Was really connected with sponge.
Oh, they did filter all that live rock. I mean, it was good. Yeah. But,
one of the things that I did after I'd done that was I really didn't like that was the issue. I was having nitrates were just through the roof. Nutrients were just ridiculous. I don't know. I'm just seeing if I've got a picture of it. I don't think I have, but I ripped it all out, put it all in a vat, and I basically got egg crate, and I made these. I got some PVC tubing, and I basically made almost a plastic platform, like tiered egg crate. So I could put the rock in, and then I put power heads at the bottom right and left hand corner, firing forward to try and get rid of the detritus. Didn't really work. Didn't really make much of a difference because back then I was still feeding the fish every time I saw them. So it didn't make
Is that fish at the top who needs feeding?
Yeah, that one. Yeah, and then I bought a bubble tip anemone, put it where I wanted it, and then it walked all the way across the tank and stung everything in the tank and killed God knows how much. Anyway,
I just put mine straight in the power head just to get it over with.
Yeah,
did you
feed it into the gyre?
Just feed it straight into the MP60. That's that done. Yeah, they're not. I'm just joking, people, just in case anyone thinks that. Someone to do that, but I've had a few going to power head.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, one in particular which wiped out my entire tank.
Oh dear. A bit
of a nightmare.
Let's just jump into the comments before we have a little bit of structure to this. Buy some lime. It was fun that though, because I mean, you would go and God knows how much the rock could be these days if you could still get it compared to what it was then when I was buying it. But you could get some decent pieces.
Yeah.
And then you weren't sat at night. You didn't sit at night with orange glasses on, looking at sticks. You sat at night looking at all these bugs and these aliens coming out of the rock.
That's it.
What's that?
It was amazing. Absolutely amazing. It is weird when you go into a local fish shop, your Regal Angel, and you buy a brick of rock instead. More excited about the rock.
Yeah. What you're going to find on it. I don't actually know. Can you still get live rock at all anywhere? Has it been brought in? I don't know.
I haven't seen
it. I know Paul mentions that AAC have a little. Paul at AAC has a little bit, but he's very sort of selective on how much he sells and who he sells it to. I think for that reason. So a couple of comments in here. Liam saying he's just moved his coffee van into his SPS tank this morning. So his 5-foot LPS didn't end well. He so I wasn't pleased about his new tank, mate. Oh dear. Well, I hope it goes well, mate.
It's so nice normally. Did you try an acclamation box?
I don't know. I have to comment, Liam. I have to comment. Yeah. Rama's asking Ron, which part of Africa is Scotland in?
Bravo! You bring it on, Mr. Rama.
You were gonna get one. You were gonna get at least one, mate. Let's have a look. What else we got in the house? Any more comments? People talking about them, talking amongst themselves. Scotland is the promised land. We invented the world. The zoo.
I can't agree with that either.
That's just deluded was the word that came to mind there, but
I don't think we've got any more. What else we got? Okay. Right then, so setting up a new reef aquarium, what would you do differently, gentlemen, compared to what you have done?
Well, I guess because my first tank, like I said, was new. I bought a brand new Red Sea 750. So that was my first tank. And because it was Red Sea, I just went with the Red Sea. Is it like the 4-part or the 3-part plus the pretty coloured stuff used to pour in?
It was the foundation back then, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, Red Sea Foundation. They gave a really nice guide of how to use it, which I thought was good for someone that, like me, who was new to it all. Because originally I was going to buy, I think I've told you this, leaf cutting ant colony. That was my original thoughts when I wanted to occupy my brain with something to do. And obviously, being an entomologist, I thought, a leaf cutting ant colony would be good. And then I looked into it and thought, once it's set up, it's a bit boring. And then I thought back to the reef tank my dad had, and I got looking into that, and I thought, this looks far more interesting. So fortunately, H2O is 10 minutes. Well, I say fortunately, my wife says very unfortunately, but 10 minutes in the house, H2O. So I just walked in there and just had a chat with John and Rachel, and I think I ordered the Red Sea probably like a week later.
Wow.
And yeah, so I just followed I just liked that Red Sea sort of product for simplicity, really, for someone who's not really been in the hobby. It's a very structured plan, and I followed it probably for the first year, and yeah, everything went. I mean, I've got to be honest, I've never owned a soft coral. I might have owned one, but I've never done softies. So I went straight in with LPS and acros really from pretty much from the start. But my fish has always been my, as you know.
Yeah.
So, and then I moved over to the Triton because I wanted to get into the, you just try different things. I wanted the refugium for the pods and the life that you get in it. And I did that. And then slowly, I added a tank to the side. So it went up to 1,000+ volume system. They were plumbed in together, and I grew the mangroves, and I had the mated pair of orange spot filefish, did all that. And then I just noticed that the cost of the dosing and just the maintenance was just getting a bit uncomfortable for me, buying those proprietary things. And that's when I decided, when I went, I'm going to go big in the fish room, I will probably make most of my own chemicals. So that's probably the biggest change I've done over the years, whereas the stuff I dose, I source myself, mix myself, rather than just buying shop bought stuff. But the setting up, I went bare bottom as well for the first time in this big system, and obviously you couldn't get live rock at the time, so that was all dead rock. So that makes a difference. Makes quite a big difference, actually, I think, in setting up a tank. Because obviously when I set up the Red Sea up, I put live rock in it, sand, and definitely makes that initial 3 to 6 months, I think, a lot easier. Yeah, run into less problems, really. I mean, fortunately, when you set up your second or third, you're not in a big rush, are you? I mean, the thing is, when you spend all that money and have a big tank and it sits there empty, you're just chomping at the bit to get something in it, really. So it's very hard to just go hands off. I need to leave it for a couple of months and just let it, all the bacteria get in and the nitrogen cycle to do its thing. And it's difficult, but obviously the more you do, the easier it gets.
I think a lot of people will, when I think about it, with what you're saying, like what Ron's saying, would buy a second-hand tank complete because they can get it complete. You're buying everything. So I think it's quite daunting for somebody entering the hobby to go out and get a tank and then get everything separately. When I look back, we got the bigger tank because the tank my mum gave me was literally, we used to have it. It was like recessed into the dining room. It was literally 2 big one or whatever, and we just had 2 fish that we inherited from it. So naturally, as guys are, we want bigger and better, and quite quickly, and so that's where that came from. But I nearly shelled out. I mean, it's nothing this day and age money. We nearly shelled out £1,000 for a brand new tank until somebody says, have you had a look on the second-hand, marketplace? And I was like, I would never even have thought about looking for a fish tank second-hand. But yeah, we did that, and I think we got it all. I think we got it all wrapped up for about 500 quid, everything. Wow. So absolute bargain. But I think a lot of people will go and get second-hand tanks because they think, got the rock, got the fish, got the skimmer, got the pump, and
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, and you don't actually know whether you're going to enjoy the hobby or not, do you? When you first take the tank up. Yeah, and it's very difficult to gauge, whether you got the right temperament or the right space, time, money, all of it. I mean, it's a weird hobby, isn't it? Because it's kind of 10% joy and 90% for fuck's sake. That's
stupid fucking hobby.
Yes. Yeah. So there's a.
But I think that's the word you have to keep saying to yourself, though, is hobby. You need to enjoy it, and I'm a big advocate of that. Because the minute you start going, this is, and you go, I can't be asked water change, can't be asked tested water, I'm not buying that, so it's going to die, and you give in, it is a slippery slope, I think. And I've been there a couple of times over the years with systems, fighting nuisance algae and whatever else, and it can be
resilient, haven't you? And I don't, in a lot of ways, I don't necessarily think the social media side helps, because very few people go, here's my tank looking shit. Do they? Everyone just goes, when it looks good, I'll take loads of pictures. When it looks rough, I'll just go quiet for a period of time. I mean, I've literally been into my fish room this morning, and the second I walked in, I went, something wrong here. And then I've looked at my trace elements, and I don't know why, but the dosing pump looks like it's dumped 2 litres of trace elements into the tank.
YOLO.
Yeah. And I'm just like, so I've got no idea what carnage that's going to cause. So,
dear.
Yeah. I mean, 2 litres of trace elements is a lot.
And he's still on your live stream, just letting it go.
Oh, commitment, Rob.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I haven't even turned the other one off. I've still got the pump. So, it's those little crappy, they X1, the tiny little individual dosing heads. D&D maker.
I know which ones you mean. Is it with the pump sideways? The one with the dosing line sideways, or is it I think I know which ones you mean.
It's on the front. Yeah. On the front. Yeah, I mean, they're really tiny, but it's weird because I looked at it about 3 weeks ago, and you pull up the plan on your phone, and it just had like 20 random plans running, like all at different, and I'm going, that's 5 mil, 10 mil, 7 mil. I'm going, what is that shit? I never put that in there. And then it kind of did a matrix thing where it kind of flicked, and then it went back to the plan that I'd set originally, and I sort of went, oh, well, hopefully that is working okay. But obviously it wasn't. It's just been dumping random amounts. So I don't know how long that is. So so I've got that joy to look forward to. So the next couple of weeks. Fortunately, next week I've got a load of people coming to look at the tank, so hopefully it'll just be bleached white.
Yay! Nice and clean.
Nice and clean, yeah. I just I felt like a reboot.
I haven't got any photos of it, but I've said this time and time on the channel. Mum used to bleach coral in buckets. For a DT.
Yeah, I remember doing that. Yeah. Whacking some domestos. Yeah.
Yeah, big acropora in a bucket. Yeah. Dead acropora in a bucket. Yeah. Bleach it, So Dad's doorstep white. So you'd go on, Shane Richard knock on your door and say, "Does it pass?" And yeah, it does. And in the tank it went. Pieces of lettuce, pieces of pieces of lettuce for the yellow tang to peck at, like it wants to eat a baby gem lettuce or whatever, an iceberg lettuce. But yeah,
in the 70s, because he ran the ozone on it as well, and he used to bleach the coral colonies. You buy them bleached, obviously in the shop, they're pure white, and then you keep them pure. I mean, that tank was so brightly white with no sort of life in it other than the fish. It was like Ross Geller's teeth. Do you remember when he had his teeth whitened? It hurt your eyes. It was so bright. And you go, Christ. I mean, at the time, you think that's how it should look. And it looked, I mean, it makes the fish colours pop, but yeah, it was so white. It was insane. And you get that like faint waft of ozone if you sat near the tank.
Oh, God. Rama's saying that they did the same issue as you, Rob. Filled the reef tank up with tap water, added salt, big learning curve. Then I opened Google. Johnny Boy didn't have corals around when I had my first tank. Got excited when I first saw Raptasia.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have done that.
Yeah, definitely. Morning, Haley. Thanks for joining us. It is. I mean, I can remember seeing somebody once selling Raptasia on eBay, believe it or not. That's some years ago.
Wow.
It's a coral.
It's a solid business plan right there.
It is.
Yes. I've never heard of Red Sea bursting until I came on these streams. It's good information. Yeah, because Ron, you were saying on the warm-up, weren't you, that little chat we had, that you had an issue with the DT behind you?
Yep.
Yeah. So that's what is it? A Gem 1 350, is it?
It's a 300 XL.
300 XL, sorry.
So this is a Gen 3 now that they've under warranty. So, but yeah, the seams started to go.
Right, okay. Drip is a big fan of yours. Thank you very much for the blue music this morning.
My man.
Oh dear. Alex say one of my best tanks was full of live rock, full of sponge growth. Loved the hidey bits. Yes.
Yeah, they were good tanks.
It was cool. I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
Coming up at night and having a look at what was crawling around.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Just get the red light. Torch to the red light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got one of them.
In there, haven't we? Yeah. Love it.
I just had a red bulb in the room.
Yeah.
Because you're sitting in a chair in the window, Tom.
Yeah, slightly. Yeah.
How did that work out for you financially?
Oh dear. Yeah, so I funded. Does that what paid off it? Won't be in it anymore. I don't have this behind me.
Oh dear.
Liam's just replying back to his earlier point about the copper band and the Sowell. Drop and hope, tried feeding and Nori, but just battered him. So scooped him out, put him back. Plop and drop, put him back in the LPS tank. What's the Zeus saying? I love a tank full of softies, waving and moving with the flow. Yeah, I think a lot of people do prefer the moving corals.
I mean, that tank all set up at AAC. I don't know if you've seen it with the wave box. He's got a wave. I think that's I'm not sure what the tank is. 300.
Is that the MPS? The MPS tank?
No, that's around the front. No, around the side. There's just a softy tank with a wave box, and they all just gently. It's very relaxing. It's very nice. It's a lovely tank, and as he says, very simple to run.
Well, when I think back to one of our first tanks, we bought loads of things. We even bought sponges at one point, blue, purple sponges that you could get from asbestos.
Yeah.
That wasn't from Semichem, no. That wasn't from Semichem.
No. We bought fans and we bought Gorgonians and everything back then. But Liam's asking, Ron, can we see more of the tank to your right? Love the look of the aquascape. Are you on Insta or anything? There is a video.
That. What Gil's Aquarium? What's his actual name? Sorry.
Shameless plug coming.
Yeah. Liam.
Fucking right. It's shameless.
Liam.
Liam, if you want to see more of this tank, you could join our little Discord community called Reefy AF. It can be Reefy and Friends, Reefing in France, or whatever you want it to be. But if you want to join, here's a link. You can fire up this stream later on and hit pause. Chances are you will join and then probably
leave
quickly.
Quite quickly. Yeah.
It's an amazing bunch of people, mostly people in the States.
Yep.
But great bunch of guys, 90% fun, 10% reefing.
Yeah.
Good.
It's
And you do,
definitely
when do you do that, Ron? When's it live? When's it on the channel?
We don't do it live. We record on Zoom, and then I have to edit so much.
Right.
You couldn't do it live, Tom. Believe me.
Oh, right. Okay.
No.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'd all be doing the next stream from our prison cells.
Just jumping back to Reefy for a minute. Mark's saying, I'm buying my first tank this month. I'm thinking of getting a DD 900. Is this a good tank, or is there better on the market for that sort of money? Well,
I've only ever heard good things about DD tanks, but I've never owned one. So
Same here.
yeah.
No experience with them at all.
But yeah, I mean, I know Paul Fish Palace has had a DD tank, and he always
he raves about it.
The build quality is amazing, and it lasts the test of time. So I
Are
guess
those
on
the
that,
tanks that have the
the
angle
weird
weir?
yeah,
Yes.
Right.
It's like a
Yeah, I saw that
it's in the corner,
Aqua show in Tilford in 2019. And that was one of the biggest things that blew me away from that entire show. I was like, what is that all about?
yeah.
Is it easy to maintain in that angle?
I always think that, because I think where that angle comes in, where it's tight, does that cause problems or not? I mean, I guess people have, and I've never seen people moaning about it, but that was
I've never seen anybody moan.
Yeah,
I'd not seen one in the flesh before until I went to the Abyss at Manchester, actually, to pick up some fish for the garage, and I saw it, and the cabinetry is just on a different level compared to some of the others out there. It really is.
Yeah,
so if you want a piece of furniture, in your living room, I would definitely say that they are more sort of aesthetically pleasing than some other brands.
I mean, to be honest, I don't think you'd be upset with that tank if you bought it.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to regret it, 6 months down the line.
Well, Lee's saying Lee's had more tanks and more fish than David Attenborough. So yeah, I'd say Lee, what Lee's saying goes. If he's saying he loved it, so
I mean, if Lee just comes back on in a minute and goes, "I've got one in my garage," I'm off.
It probably will do. It probably will do.
We're just rummaging through some boxes right now. Go, oh yeah, look, I've got one in the corner there.
Yeah, he's got you a trident. He's like, oh yeah, I've got a spare trident. Forgot I'd got that. Yeah. Anyway,
piles of shit.
Oh mate,
I've got a shipping container here at the garden centre now because the room is too full. Lee
is a legend when it comes to bits. If you ever need a bit of pipe work fixing, attachment, whatever, ring Lee. Lee's your man. He's like the tool station or screw fix of the aquarium hobby. Anyway, a few more joined in. Morning, Carl. Hope you're all right, mate. Hope you're on the mend up. They're moving house.
Carl's got a new tank up. Did I not see a picture of a new tank, Carl? I'm pretty sure I did.
Right, okay. Well, he couldn't wait for that thing. He's just moved house. He said he was waiting. Anyway.
Well, he said he's waiting for his big one, but while he's waiting, he's set up another one. That's where we are. You know what I mean?
Haley's saying, I'm assuming she means D&D, not Dad. Really happy with my dad. Well, simple, solid tank.
Yeah, that's a whole different.
Yeah. Let's have a look. I think we are pretty much up to speed. Paul's.
Yeah, they're. Oh, there you go. Top tank. Yeah, they're also made in Essex, aren't they? They're made not far from where I am.
All right. Okay.
I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but I thought I'd just say.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Yeah, made in Essex, pre-built. Yeah. Brought their weir on mine, took it down to the factory, and I fixed it for 20 quid. Had it been a Red Sea, I had to go and buy a new display.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good point. You can go down to the factory. That's quite right.
How did you break the weir?
God.
I don't know.
I gave it away last week, Rob. I did 900 spare. Why doesn't that surprise me?
Yeah. Brilliant.
Hey, dear. Right, so let's just go back to the topic again. So setting up a new reef tank, what would you, from a combined years of experience and mistakes and whatever else you want to call it, what would you, other than don't do it probably, what would you say to a new reef for getting a marine tank? What would you say? Best bit of advice of setting a tank up. Anybody want to go first?
I don't want to. He's super keen.
Yeah. Chomping at the bit. I don't want to sound stereotypical, but it's going slow. Take your time. Everybody sees somebody else's tank. Chances are that's what gets them into the hobby, and they want it instantly. And it's just, there are ways of doing it really, really quickly. For example, a staff member here at the garden centre got himself a tank. Really weird story, actually. So I bought the tank. I sold it to a member of staff. That member of staff left. Another member of staff has now just bought it off of him.
Wow. Okay.
So he's got that and he's setting up. And I gave him one of these huge, big Brightwell Continuum bio blocks from one of my sumps. Sat it in his tank and he put a tang in it day 2. And it is absolutely flying.
Wow.
So that is the biggest win for me, is having something cycled and a large chunk of biological filtration. So, for example, my frag tank, I've got 30 of the max spec bio blocks in my sump. I also have a power head in every single section of my sump, keeping all detritus suspended and keeping flow really high. I don't own a tank with sand. Every single tank I own is bare bottom. And these bricks, biological filtration, I'm not actually going to suggest you use the Brightwell or the Continuum. They seem to break down, and I have seen reasonably high silicates from it, or silicon. I can't remember, one of the two. Cloud. But the max spec ones, solid, easy to clean. You actually rub them together to get all the detritus off of them. I would say that has been the biggest one for me. So if you want to start a tank, find somebody who's already got a system that's running that you trust, so it's not riddled with any sort of real nasties. Just get a bit of their rock or their biological filtration. It works.
Because I think go on, Rob.
Everyone, I know that everyone goes down that route, or everyone suggests that route, but when I started this tank, I didn't trust anyone to give me anything from their tank, because I was just paranoid because I knew the fish I wanted to put in there. I wanted to just start sterile. And I know it's very difficult, and it took me months. I mean, I think probably, looking back, it probably took me a year to cycle that tank properly, because it was just. Well, I mean,
this tank, I did the same, Rob. I went from absolute zero, and it was a little bit harder, but soaking the entire scape in a gigantic 600-litre vat with Microbacter 7 for almost a month, feeding the tank a little bit, things like that. That worked for me, but I went completely from zero.
Yeah, I mean, it's a decision. I mean, like I said, because it wasn't my first tank, I wouldn't recommend doing that. If someone comes to me with their first tank, I'm not going to go, you need to wait a year before you shoot it. That's dry people. But I think if you've got someone who's got a reasonably, like now, I would be quite happy to give someone my biomedia for them to start their tank up. So I would do that. I would go, here's a brick, here's a piece of live rock or whatever from my tank, and that's going to act as a good seed. Add some bottle and just go through the nitrogen cycle like everyone has to, and then crack on from there. I mean, I use a lot of bottle bacteria. I'm not sure you get the right species in there, really. I don't know.
I think
I spent fortunes on pot. I mean, I put loads in anyway, and I didn't see any detrimental effects. But my head goes, would I have arrived at the same place 6 months down the line if I hadn't spent £1,000 on bacteria? Probably yes.
Yeah,
because it gets in there anyway. I guess I think a new reefer. Yeah, I would probably say I think sand makes that initial period easier. You can take sand out after if you want to, but I think most people like sand, don't they? You got to think first reefer hasn't got any background. I just think sand just makes it easier to get started. I mean, just go through the what's the guy who does the thing? Dr. Tim's, isn't it?
Dr. Tim's methods. Yeah, that's what I did on that one. Yeah,
works fine. Worked brilliantly. Works okay. So, if you want I don't know, if you got a big tank, I don't buy those silly little bottles of ammonia because they cost an absolute fortune. So just buy my own ammonia, put it in. That was the only deviance I did on that Dr. Tim's method, really.
Yeah, I mean, on that Dr. Tim's method, I continued it longer than he said. just to make sure that it was converting properly, cycling properly. So I kept dosing ammonia for like 2 or 3 days after, quite large amounts as well, because I just wanted to make sure. Because the amount of fish I was going to put in one go, that it was able to cope with it. So
well, that's what I did in mine. I fed mine ammonia for months, to be honest, because I didn't have any fish at all in it for months, and then I had 2 fish in a 3,000 litre system. So obviously that's not a big enough biome to keep the bacterial sort of where you want it. So I fed the tank for ages.
I think one of the things I'd say about setting up a new reef tank could be, sounds a bit crazy because obviously I've got a large tank behind me, and I know you have, Rob, but I'd say try and get a tank that's as big as you can afford and fit in the house in one go. For the simple fact that you will, in this hobby, as you spend your time in it and progress, you will get to a point where you want that coral or that fish, and have you got room, and can you fit them all in terms of space and whatnot. And I think for me, I wish I'd have gone for a bigger tank a few years ago, because I probably wouldn't have ended up with this one. I'm glad I've got this one, but the point I'm trying to make is that I think quite often people will go, for how much it is the second-hand market, I'm not suggesting you go out and spend all your hard-earned money on a brand new system, but if you were going to go second-hand, I don't see any reason why your first tank couldn't be like a 5-foot tank, for example. Just as a point, a reference point.
Yeah, I mean, there's pros and cons, isn't there, for tank sizes? I mean, obviously, it's obviously down to the individual, what their budget is, what their time is, what their life schedule is. I mean, I've said many times, my lifestyle allows me to have a big tank and spend a lot of time on it. If I was in my 30s or 40s with kids and jobs and stuff, there's no way I'd have a tank that size. Or if I did, it would probably look quite shit. Because I wouldn't be able to dedicate the time to it. I mean, that's just reality, isn't it? So, you've got to be realistic about what's going to fit in. I mean, we don't all, but, a lot of us want massive tanks. I'd love a massive tank. I'd like a tank I could get my dive kit on and drop into it and scrape the bottom, but the realities are, I'm not going to have that. So,
I just think that there's quite often that when you really cast your mind, I'm from a selfish point of view, I'm thinking about the heartache and not the heartache necessarily, the effort that goes into breaking a tank down that you've got, that you're happy with. Well, so happy with, because you want a bigger tank, and then setting a new one up. Yeah, it's excitement because you're setting a new one up. And I suppose you could argue that's part of the transition and the journey in the hobby. But I also think, like, if you'd have just gone that 1 or 2 foot bigger to start with, you wouldn't have to go through all that pain. If you get where I'm coming from.
I think the thing is, though, you're going to cut your teeth on your first tank, aren't you? You're going to make, how much advice you get, you're going to make mistakes, and you're going to buy things on impulse that you shouldn't buy. And eventually, I don't think, maybe GA, if I think about it, he had that tank for 4 years. It's probably an exception to the rule. Most people's first tanks, they're going to last 2 years, and they're either out of the hobby because it's just extortionately expensive, or they've killed everything and depressing, or they're going to upgrade. And I guess if you start smaller, you could argue the point that if I've got a nano sitting in a corner of a room, it's going to be very easy for me to transition that into a bigger tank.
Yeah,
it's going to be it's going to be easy to shut it down, move it, and sell it on and get into the next. Because I just think I don't think anyone keeps their first tank long term, do they? Really?
No.
Very
How long did you have yours for, Ron, before you changed it? The aqua one that you had, like me?
About 8 months.
Really?
And I went up to my LFS and bought a fully custom 7 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot clear seal, shoehorned it into my dining room.
Nice.
And back the JCB in.
Yeah.
And it's now,
dear,
behind the checkouts and the garden centre shop, because I'm not at home. I'm here 7 days. So
I still up and running.
Oh yeah, it's there. It's full of corals and rock and fish. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Nice.
That's nice to jump in after I posted a video on Discord, Rob. That's nice that you acknowledge that and took note.
That's his Alzheimer's.
Devil with detail.
Liam's asking if you're resetting your current tanks. Liam's actually he had some issues with his current tanks, so he's had a new one built. I'm not going to go into that. But yeah, he's setting up a new tank. So key on the question here: if you were going to reset your current tank, what would you do differently this time? Good question. Any volunteers? Go on, Rob. I'll pick you first. I'll pick Rob first. Ron, you're all right.
Shut it, Ron. What would I do different? I might run double weirs. Actually, I might have another weir in my tank, just because there's a lot of water and getting it all down at one end.
Yeah,
I mean, it works. I just think it could work better. I would definitely. Well, I'm going to expand it, but I would definitely have a bigger sump. I mean, it's that classic. When I bought the sump originally, Royal Exclusive.
This isn't a sump though, is it? This is a piece of
sump.
Art, or whatever you want to call it. It's a 3,000 pound plastic box of art. So was that right? Sorry. Yeah, I'm jealous. I'd love one, by the way, for anybody. I'm not saying the crap, but it's a bit extreme.
Sure
it's not just a glass box, is it? For the people that are watching, it's not a glass box. No,
I'm picturing a copper Victorian bath.
Yeah, with a woman in there, it just wafts out the shit.
You have to pay extra for that.
Pass the tip to Jeeves, who takes it out into the garden. Right. Anyway, I don't know where the fuck I'm going with that.
You'd have a bigger. You said you would have a bigger sump, mate. Sorry, before I rudely interrupted you.
Yeah, God, I went off on a tangent. Yeah, so I'd have a bigger sump, which I'm going to extend anyway, because when you first put your tank together, obviously you don't have all the kit. You don't necessarily know where your nutrients are going to be at and how you're going to deal with them. So I bought the filter fleece because I thought that and the skimmer would be enough to manage the nutrients on the tank. So Royal Exclusive told me that the skimmer I actually bought was bigger than I needed because I'm running it in conjunction with the filter fleece. But I run the filter fleece and the skimmer full blast, and I'm still having to use bio pellets and lampion to get the nutrient. But that's because, I've got some whopping great fish in the tank. But it means obviously that my sump is cramped now. Whereas before I had nice room, I could clean it out, used to siphon it and keep it all clean. Now it's got a nitrate reactor and a bio pellet reactor in it, and I just physically can't get in to clean it without it being a faff. So that's something I just like it bigger. Yeah.
This tank doesn't have the Red Sea sump. This is plumbed through the wall, and there's a gigantic whopping sump on the floor in the room next door.
Yeah,
and I bet you can access that so much easier, can't you, without whacking your head on cabinets and
that's the other thing, isn't it?
It's all right there. It's all open, and I can do anything to it.
Yeah, I think one of the weirdest things that never really. I did it when I built the fish room, but I raised my sump off the floor by about 2 foot, so it's on the stand. And at the time, I thought, it'd be nice to be able to store some stuff under it. But actually, it is an absolute beaut to not have a sump at ground level. But just one, because I'm old and I don't want to be bending over. 2, when I clean it, I can just siphon it out, and I haven't got, obviously I've got the gravity drop. But it's just so much easier. So yeah, I would never want to get under a tank to service anything really anymore.
Yeah, I
know most people have to. But I'm just saying, if you have any way of putting a remote sump in somewhere else where you can just clean it, have access to it, it just makes life so much easier.
Ron, over to you. Thanks for that, Rob.
Well, I totally agree with Rob on the sump comment. It's been the best thing I've ever done. I can't have mine off a ground level because gravity works one way and it won't go up. So I can't have it even on a small stand. It wouldn't work.
We could put that tank 5 foot higher, Ron.
Yeah, that would be handy. Yeah, scrape the glass with fucking stilts on.
That's it. Got a trapeze artist above.
Well, I'd do
Most people don't have that option, do they? But but even if it's on the same level, you can still actually, you're not ducking down on your knees and cracking your head on the cabinet above, are you?
Well, in America, everyone's got basements, and I'm so jealous of these basements.
I know.
The size of them. There's one guy on our Discord has a basement.
Alex.
Not him. Jim. Jim has a basement.
Jim, yeah.
That is 3 times the floor space of my entire house.
Yeah.
Wow.
I live in a
There's
very
a lot.
small
There's
house.
a lot of bodies down there.
Yeah. Wow.
That's all they use basements for bodies and fish tanks. I think that's it, isn't it, for Americans? That's
So
generally my take.
when they're planning their basement, sump in the corner there, barrel of acid there.
That's it. Yeah.
You've got a massive calcium reactor that just melts the bones down.
That's it. Yeah. I mean, I just clean my power heads and I'll just dip that body. Same
No,
stuff.
calcium reactor's looking a little bit low. I'll need to go and kill somebody.
Anyway, back to topic. Thanks for that. You two together are terrible.
Yep.
I'd do what he's doing, to be fair, and I'd add on my old system. I'd put a closed loop on that if I was going to redo this one behind me, just for more flow.
Really?
I'd have
I thought you had closed loops. You not got closed loops? I thought you had some.
No, I'd put 2 closed loops in, which I should have done in hindsight, but we are where we are. I've just had to fill it with power heads instead of corals for now. But yeah.
What are the dimensions of your system, Tom?
Metric or
Yes, metric. We're all fucking British.
2.8 meters by 600 by 700.
Nice. Okay. I can feel people twitching in the stream already. There's the Americans, Tom. They're just like,
yeah. 9 foot 2 inches, because those 2 inches make all the difference,
yes,
as we know. Yeah. By 2 foot by 2 and a bit, 2.5. So
that's a whopping system. It looks absolutely beautiful.
Does that fit in? Does that fit in somewhere specific then? Because I mean, 9'2" is a very, most people go, I have a 9 foot.
So, go on, hang on a minute. Let's see if I can show you so it makes sense.
It's just what Lee had in his garage.
Just in spare pains.
Yeah.
So, I didn't want the tank to go flush to the door frame.
Right.
You with me? Because when you walk in to the living room, I didn't want a tank to just be here, in front of you. Yeah. I wanted the recess.
Yeah, I get that. I don't get the 2 inches.
Well, the reason why, the reason why is 2.8 meters. It was all to do with the cabinetry. Because if I couldn't afford, on my old tank, my 8 footer, I had an issue with. In fact, it wasn't 8 foot; it was 7. Was it 7.5 or something? We had an issue when it came to the cabinet because I couldn't afford it at the time. The cabinet actually was coming out more than the tank, which I just couldn't get my head round. Why, I'm paying all this for wood almost. So yeah, we went to IKEA, got some kitchen doors, which were like, I don't know, 20 quid, 25, 30 quid at the time. And I panelled it with a friend of mine, and we just put magnets. We screwed magnets to the inside of the stand. And just put magnets on it.
Perfect. Yeah.
And it looked sound. And I said to myself, if the next tank I get, I'm going to do it metric so that I don't have that issue when it comes to the panelling. Yeah. So it can work out cheaper. So that's why that's where the 2 inch comes from.
So it's 2.8 meters, isn't it? Yeah, which is a round number.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
Which is why I did it. Yeah. If that answers that question. So you had a little bit of the tour there as well.
I mean, if that was my tank, Tom, I'd have that 12 foot, and to get into your lounge, you'd have to crawl through the cabinet.
I know. And that was the reason why. That was the main reason why I've not gone as deep. I would have loved to have gone 3 foot. And when you'd mask it out on the floor, because this room's like, it would have been a bit like, we've got a settee in, we've got a sofa in the, and so just that you have to have, everything has to complement each other, for me anyway.
Otherwise, huge tank, get the couch out. Don't need the couch.
You are right.
What, is it 2 foot? Is it 2 foot back front? What is the depth of it?
Yeah, 2 foot. 2 foot. Yeah.
Okay.
But no, I do closed loop just because as I've learnt with sticks over the last 12, especially the last 12, 14, 18 months, I would say that flow is definitely up there. So I'd definitely go closed loop to answer your question anyway.
So I was jumping bottom of the tank, would you?
Yeah, that's why I had on my old one. I was saying that to Liam. On my old tank, I had so it was a Peninsula. I had an MP40 either side of the weir firing forward, and then I had a closed loop with a 45 that hit the front panel about 18 inches in, 12 inch, about a foot and a half in, and it hit the front panel and then sort of came back on itself. So I just made sure that there was 2 pumps though. So one was the main return, and then the other one was the closed loop. It was all, you know, it was just a big, it was a big Jebao pump. It wasn't mega expensive, wasn't all singing and dancing, but it did what it said on the tin, and it saved me having loads of power heads stuck to the peninsula, you know, the front end of the tank, which I really didn't want. So it worked well. Worked really well.
I looked at that on mine actually, but I've got to be, you know, honest. I bottled it because I just thought drilling holes in the bottom of the tank and all that weight, and I mean, I'm obviously loads of people do it, don't they? But for me, I was just like, I don't know.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find a picture of it while.
I mean, that's why I like
before we finish.
No one in this country does it, but Planet Aquariums in the States, as far as I know, they're the only tank manufacturer which does I don't know what it is. It's not acrylic, but it's some sort of plastic, isn't it, on the bottom? So it's a glass tank, but the bottom, I don't know if you remember, Jake Adams had one, didn't he? And he drilled the bottom of it. So the bottom is, I don't know, ABS or whatever. And I don't know why, but I don't know how, they've managed to work out how to stick glass to that bottom, whatever that's manufactured from. And as far as I'm aware, I've never seen any other tank manufacturer in the world that does that combination. Because that's what is that what Mr. Saltwater Tank's made from? No, his drop down tank. I think that's a Planet Aquarium tank, isn't it?
Oh, right.
But it allows you obviously to very easily drill the bottom for closed loops, because basically you're drilling through a sheet of plastic and not glass.
This was, I'll show you actually. Where are we? Can you see this? Let's look. No. This was my tank before this one.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
How big's that then?
So we had
pretty big.
That was 7.5 by 2.5 by 2.5. And if you look, if you can see the hole that's drilled, look, it's about 18 inches in, foot 18 inches in. That was the closed loop that I had on it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. You never had any issues with it? Never blocked or?
No. There's a better picture here actually. This was I had this tank when we moved into this house, because obviously we had the floor done and it had it all redone. But yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That looks really nice.
Yeah. It was great. So I used to sit on the sofa and I used to just have that front panel, just all the fish and everything. It was great. Really loved it.
Nice peninsula tanks.
Really liked it. They were on
that's a good idea. Peninsulas, isn't it, as well? Closed loop on a peninsula probably makes even more sense. So you haven't got anything on the end of the tank, have you?
No. And then some more actually, as soon as we were talking about this. So I did a stupid rockscape. My friends said it looked like one of the destroyers off Star Wars. One of the big, because I don't. This. I'm trying to show you. It's on topic, I suppose, what we're talking about. So yeah, I did like levels.
Okay, yeah.
Might not be everybody's
I
cup
can
of
see
tea,
what I
but
mean. Yeah, it's like that massive carrier ship, isn't it, in Star Wars? Yeah.
So yeah. But one thing I learned from that, since we were talking about setting up a new tank, was that plates were a really big craze. I don't know what year that was. That'd have been about 2000 and what, been here 10 years, 2013, something like that. And the plates, buying these plates for live, not live rock, sorry, man-made rock, were a really big thing. And again, you're thinking, I can get a plate, I can put loads of corals on it. Yeah. But all it ended up doing is it just shadowed everything. So I really made a mistake, because I just had all these plates that, I put stuff on, but there was no light coming underneath for anything. So if anybody's thinking of doing that, don't, or try and have a mixture, because you want that, you want those spaces for not just that, but for fish obviously as well. But corals wise, I couldn't have any. The LPS struggled on the floor because everything just shadowed it as it grew out.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Anyway. Well, I'm just going to jump into the comments for a minute. What we got here? Paul saying he set up. I use live sand, also get live rock from LFS to help seed it. Dead sand stitch me right up with the nano. Yeah, I had a lot of issues with this, with the man-made rock. But I think these days you haven't got much of a choice, like we're saying. There's not many LFSs that you can get it.
Yeah, I think even if you're lucky, you're going to get a very small bit. Like you say, if you go away, say you're not going to walk in and go, "Can I have 100 kilos of live rock, please?" He's going to go, "There's 2 on your way."
Yeah. Bare bottom takes longer to cycle. I would agree with that. I had a bare bottom. Yeah.
I think it just pays, for me, I think it just pays dividends down the road, 2-3 years down the road. I mean, I went bare bottom purely because it's a good site to host fish parasites.
Yeah.
So that's why I didn't go down.
If you are going to go bare bottom, you've got to do what Ron's done, and I clicked on this, and I know Josh has done, and you've got a white coating.
Yes, reflects back.
On the
bottom.
Yeah, it's white vinyl.
Yeah, we can see that. Yeah, white vinyl.
Yeah, because mine's black. It definitely, my tank looks like it's been set up by Sauron. It is quite dark. That's a Lord of the Rings reference.
I've never seen it, but because of that, this scape has a great big cantilever over it. There's actually Montipora now growing down and underneath on the bottom of the rock scape, which is really cool.
How's that cantilever out then? Did you use just rock, or have you used
Marco
rods?
rock? I built the entire scape out of loads of bits of Marco rock.
Right, so there's no rod structure in there to support that cantilever.
It's one great big blob of Marco rock and the Marco, what's it called? The cement stuff, 200 or something it's called. Can't remember.
Yeah, I don't know.
It just comes in a white bucket. It's basically just aquarium friendly cement.
Oh, okay. It just makes it water. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I think I use the same stuff probably. It's quite messy, isn't it?
I don't do anything messy, Rob.
Do you get your member of staff to do it? Get in here. Get in gloves on.
Ram was saying, I'm 2 months in with the dry dead rock, but used live sand and microbacter 7 and seem to be winning. Used Dr. Tim's to get it initially cycled. I think that's the other thing. There's lots of products out there that can help you if you are having issues setting up a new tank.
I said it on Friday actually. So when I set mine up, even though I didn't want anything in the actual tank, I set a satellite tank up and used the is it the Carib Sea live sand? There's a particular live sand.
Yeah.
Dredged and stuck in a bag basically. So and I think that did help a lot actually, getting that diversity of bacteria in there a bit quicker. But obviously it's not in the main display. That's one way of doing it. If you don't want sand in your main display, you don't have to do it permanently, do you? You could just plumb it into a small satellite, even a canister or something, just to get the sand in and get the bacteria in there.
Billy's saying she's 3 years into the hobby and she's onto a 4th tank. Yes.
Wow. What's taking you so long?
Oh dear. I've got.
I wonder if they've got bigger each one, or whether she's just changed. Put
it in the comments, Hayley, why you changed 4 times, if you wouldn't mind. That'd be good. Look at the state of this when I did this with the tab. Just finding all these pictures off this hard drive. So that was it when I got my Gen 2 Radions on.
Oh wow, nice.
Oh dear, yeah dear. Got some more here, but yeah, our tanks have changed. I think you're the fishman, Rob. Would you say to people setting up a new reef tank, do you think it's a good idea to choose the fish that you want in one go or from the same shop, rather than do what a lot of us have done and travel the length and breadth of the country and buy little fish that might be riddled in disease and whatever else? And
I mean, I think in this country, I don't know what it's like up where you are, but most fish come from TMC, don't they? I mean, I know there are, people that pull from other sources and they get unusual fish, but, your bog standard fish, I think most of them are going to come from TMC. So it depends what you want. It's like anything, if you set your first tank up, you're probably not going to go for anything exotic. I would say to people, try and get utilitarian fish over fish that you just want to look pretty. Because it will make your life a bit easier. If you can get some wrasse to take care of flatworms and some algae eaters, foxface or a little tang or something, the sooner you get them in, it's better to get them in before you see the problem, really, because then you may never see the problem. So it's be proactive rather than reactive on that front. I mean, I guess most people probably do the same thing, don't they? They go to several stores and then they kind of choose the ones they like, and they just stay reasonably loyal to them, really. Yeah, I mean, you know, as I said Friday, there's a lot of stores in Essex, but I only visit 3. So,
yeah,
and I'm not trying to be disparaging against the others because I haven't been to all of them, but everything I need I can get from those 3, really. So I don't see the need. You know,
I guess what
we used to drive out and visit other shops and stuff. You know, just out of curiosity. I've been up to Sheffield. I've been to Kraken. I've been to Fit Filtration.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm up and out and about, I will always go into a shop and see what they're like. But yeah, fish wise, yeah, I would just find something you like and stick with it, really.
I think the point we're trying to make is it's hard, isn't it, with a first tank, because you're gonna. I almost feel like you have to go through. You have to have the lows to appreciate the highs in this hobby.
I mean, it's like I said, I killed all my fish in my first, well, not all of them, but I killed a shitload of fish in my first tank. I killed, you know.
It sounds so proud of that.
Achilles tangs. Yeah, but I just don't want people to think, oh, you know, he just buys fish and they're all right. I bought fish and killed them. And I thought, I'm not fucking doing that constantly throughout this hobby. So
you'll never swear on a Friday night. Just because Ron's on, don't mean you have to have a potty mouth.
So,
we talked about this, and he said, I'm just going to look at you. I'm going to think I'm on the Reefy AF Discord recording, and I'm just going to...
Rob's status has just gone out the window now. Everybody can see him for who he really is, Ron, so I appreciate you coming on for that at least.
I'm not sure I had a good status, really. But, yeah, so what I'm saying is, you know, I did what everyone else did. You know, I bought silly fish thinking, you know, you get lulled in with a bit of success and then you think, oh, this is not as hard as you think it is. And you go and do stupid things. And I bought a blue, powder blue and Achilles and just had a massive outbreak in the tank. But I suppose maybe the difference is I went away and I studied and I read and I learned all that I could. And then I chose a method to QT. And in the next tank, I've had success. Which really, that's all you can ask for in a hobby, isn't it? You know, if I see someone who goes, I bought an Achilles tank, it's died of white spot. 6 months later, I bought another one. I look at those people and just go, "You're stupid." That's
more
just
meat for the grinder.
Well, just, you know, you're not learning any lessons. I don't see why you expected for an outcome. If you're not changing anything, you're going to get the same outcome, aren't you? And it don't come down to luck of the fish, really. I mean, obviously, if you start with healthy fish, you got a good. But if you've got it in your tank and you're putting certain fish in there, they're going to die.
I guess the point I was trying to make was that when you first get into the hobby, we did anyway. We literally, you plop and drop, and you go to all these different LFSs because you want to see if they've got something different. I mean, I know nowadays it's necessarily, unfortunately, not the same as it was back then, but you could see different fish or different corals, and I suppose what's the word I'm trying to look for? You're more likely to come home with the more different shops you visit, the more chance you have of coming home with something. Was what I tended to find. And the point I'm trying to make with fish is, if you can really sit on your hands, is to look at what fish you ultimately want in one go. I'm not saying put them all in one go, but look at the compatibility and this, that, and the other. Because quite often you'll go and come home with something and find out that that's going to eat that, and that's going to have a go at that, and I don't think always people think about
the responsibility of the person with the tank, and really it's partly responsibility of the shop. I mean, I know they're having a business and they need to sell fish, but as I've said before, I've seen people buy really inappropriate fish for the size of tank that they've got, or the type of tank, and there's enough variety in fish that should not happen. If you go into a fish store and go, I've got a 3-foot tank, can I have that dragon wrasse? They should go, no, you can't. But here's 4 other species of wrasse which are better suited to the tank you got, and that person's going to have more success, aren't they? And they'll probably come back to the shop. That's the way I'd like to think about it. Very quiet.
Jump into the comments. I'm doing Tom's favourite job. I'm calibrating my Apex probes. Oh, God.
Excellent.
Wow. Can't stand calibrating stuff. I'd love a sump room away from the day-to-day room. next behind the tank. Yeah, definitely want a sump room. That's a dream, I think, for any reefer, a sump room with a big coral frag tank plumbed into it. Definitely. We have a feeding friend called Leroy. No, what's he think? What's been gagged and eroded down there? Oh, he's on about Lee Cellar. God,
I was going to say.
God forbid. Yeah. Liam saying he wish he'd have gone 3 foot wide, but corner cut at the front like AAC display. Yeah, I know which one you mean.
Yeah, it's a display.
He's on about the display. Yeah, he's on about. Yeah.
I think that's a D&D tank. Is it? Might be wrong.
Might be wrong.
A little bit jealous of how many shops you guys have got around you. We've got none.
No, I haven't. We haven't down here. He's gone to whatever recently.
Where is your nearest shop then, Tom? How far do you have to travel for your nearest shop?
What do you class as a shop, though? This is where it gets interesting. What do you class as an LFS? If you're talking about...
you walk in and you can buy shit with a counter. That's the kind of...
Yeah, but buy what? Buy dry goods that I can buy online, or you mean like buy a coral?
Just wait till Wikipedia shop. Okay.
Well, have you got shops in that don't sell livestock but only sell dry goods in?
A couple at the minute, that are struggling. Yeah.
Well, they've got no livestock at all.
Bit of a sore subject at the minute. Me and Liam were on about this yesterday, and Alex last night. It's just got worse around here. Honestly, it's got to the point. I think for me, it's like when you get. I can walk into a shop and I can buy frozen food, and I can buy, a Salifert kit or whatever, and I look in the tanks and I can buy a Duncan or a candy cane if I want. But in terms of acro, in terms of sticks, there's nothing around here. Nothing.
That's the same here.
There's nothing. Christian at Signature, obviously, Ripley. Other than that, I'll be coming down to AAC, or I'm gonna when we come to Aquarate, we're gonna go to Tees Reef and hit a few more shops and try and do a bit of a tour when I come down to see you back end of October. But yeah, it's just a bit of sad state of affairs. And the stuff that they have got that I'm not interested in, it's the same stuff. It's just green LPS corals. It's just boring. And that's why I do feel for the shops. I know it's not all plain sailing. I'm sure it's a lot harder than I'm making out to make a living. But I also think that they're dictated to by certain people bringing in the same shit all the time, and they have to sell it because that's all they've got to sell. If they go to the wholesalers, which is where they make their money to pay their overhead staff, whatever, make a little profit, and it's the same stuff. They're gonna have to buy it to sell it because that's how they make their money. The point I'm making is that somebody needs to say, we're bored of all this green stuff, bring something different in. But when that will happen, I don't know. I don't make it sound so easy, Ron, but,
No, I'm not going to my LFS and buying my own corals that are fucking brown. No.
Yeah. So now it's frustrating. It's very frustrating at the minute, but no. But I'll get it on soon.
You've got to drive every shop. You've got to drive to them, basically. You can't just go out and mooch down the road and walk to a shop.
No, it's just the same stuff. I mean, that's why I like, I am envious of AAC because of the different fish, stuff that I've not seen before. And I think the key, I know we're going off piste here a little bit, but the key for me is, and this goes back, this includes you, Ron, is that you've got to have a reefer at the front of it. You've got to have a reefer running that business for it to be successful. I think who's passionate. Because that passion that passion, goes through the whole business, how it's set up, how clean it is, how knowledgeable the staff are, everything has to come from that person. And if you haven't got that person at the forefront driving it forward, it's always going to be mediocre. It's always just going to be a Tesco. It's just going to be a mediocre superstore or supermarket.
Yeah, that's true.
That's and that's the frustration for me. And I see some shops. I think that could look amazing. And it could be amazing. It just needs that passion. And you've got to want it or not want it. And for me, it just boils down to you need to be a reefer. If you're a reefer, you know what people want, you know what people are bored of, and you're going to bring in that, get that imagination, those juices flowing, and your till will be ring-ding-a-ling, hopefully, if you've got that outlook.
Hard out there, but for me, I think the nail in the coffin for a lot of LFSs, especially up this way, is if they stop buying because they feel like nobody's buying, that the tanks are all full of the same stuff, or they're just sitting empty. And the few people that do come in the door, if they're not seeing something that's going to inspire them in the hobby, they're not going to spend a penny.
Yeah.
And it's this horrible, vicious circle.
Well, more people are going to buy frags, aren't they? From a cost of, well, I think most people buy frags because they're more appealing, because they're cheaper. And if it dies, you've lost, what, 15, 20, 30 quid on average, let's just say. Not many people, unless they, really are loaded and a little bit, not got much upstairs, are going to go out and spend X, Y, and Z on loads of colonies if they've not been in the hobby 5 minutes, and then watch him die. I just think, for me, when I think back to what I bought the most of, it was frags, because I used to go into shops and they'd have offers on. It was 3 for so much or 5 for so much, and you could get so much a different variety and array of species and colour for a limited amount of money or pocket money on a Saturday afternoon than you can now. And for me, that's what's missing. If people can walk into a shop and have a choice of 20 different frags as opposed to 5 green LPS, it's a lot more interesting, I think, from a hobbyist point of view.
Yeah, I took 100. I had no space for coral, so I took about 150 odd frags up to my LFS just before Christmas there. I gave them for free, and I said, listen, do a multi-buy offer. Buy 2, get a third free or whatever. And he's like, that's a brilliant idea.
Yeah. It's not hard, though, is it? It's not rocket science, though, is it? No, it's really not.
I think LFSs are one of the worst affected businesses for people that just can't pivot or think outside of the box. This is what we've done for this length of time. We must just keep doing this. And no, I think every business has to start pivoting, especially now.
Yeah. I think it's tough. I do think it's tough to run an LFS, to be honest. And I think the other thing is, it's very easy to sit as a hobbyist and go, oh, it'd be amazing to own a shop. I mean, I've never thought that. I've always thought that would be an absolute nightmare, because dealing with people would be my idea of a nightmare to start with. But running a shop is just, and I guess that's that thing, isn't it? You're transitioning from it being your hobby to it being a business. I mean, I wonder how many people work in an LFS, go home and take care of a lovely reef tank in their house. I bet it's minuscule.
I've spoken to a few people who've worked in LFS, and they've said, why on earth would I want to do all this 4, 5, 6 days a week and then go home and do it on another tank? So I kind of get that. I get that. I get that.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is, if you're a reefer and you've got the opportunity to run a shop, or whether it's part owned or own it yourself, that is literally your canvas, isn't it? To paint whatever
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, if someone offered me do you want to do 1 day a week and help in the shop, as long as I didn't have to deal with customers, I'd be interested, because you're going to learn quite a lot, aren't you?
Yeah.
I just don't want to talk to people.
How long would it take you to get your Rob?
Yes. Yeah, 1 day a week could be a bit costly.
Yeah, the two of us will both definitely not be customer focused.
Yeah.
Let me just jump in. Paul's saying, so lucky in Essex, great stores in your area. Yeah, you are. Very, very envious. Very envious, very jealous. Lee's LFS is an hour away.
Wow.
Yeah. What's John saying? The LFS has to take common corals to be able to back. Yeah, I'm aware of that. It's just that it tends to be a
ratio, isn't it?
Ratio. I'm aware of that.
Yeah.
John's saying Eden Corals, amazing sticks.
Thanks, Jim.
Let's have a look. What else we got? My LFS is shutting down its display tanks. It can't afford the lecky bill to keep it going. It's a massive mixed reef tank, which look the Nads knackers, but he's got all the gadgets on the shelf.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Yeah. Sorry, Nads knackers. So that's bollocks with bollocks.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
Bollocks.
I mean, that's, I mean, that's big balls there.
Morning, Dave. Thanks for joining us. Liam said he spoke to his LFS, and I said at the moment money isn't coming through the tills for the better stuff, so they just keep buying the soft and LPS stuff as it sells better. That's their excuse. Yeah, I get that. I think you have got to have the bread and butter to pay, to contribute to paying your bills. I just think at the same token, you've got to have, like you were saying, Ron, you've got to think outside the box. And I don't think there's any harm in, I mean, I think a lot of the reason why a lot of people will go online these days is because they can't either access or they can't see, well, same thing, they can't see the corals that they want to see in their LFS, so they go online.
And it's very easy, isn't it, to spend time online researching. You know, you've got the plethora of stuff to choose from. It's really easy to compare prices. So, you know, it is very easy to do online sales for as a consumer. I don't know what it's like from the other side, but you know, from a consumer.
But that cuts out that cuts out all the community that we were on about the other night. You know, people meeting up and talking. It cuts all that out because it's just become transactional, hasn't it? On online platforms, eBay, whatever. You know,
there's always a downside to everything, isn't there? You know, so you've got all that choice, but you've got no interaction, have you really? And then you've got to obviously take it on faith value that the picture is going to somewhat resemble what you receive. Scale is another option, isn't it? When you're looking on a screen, you're trying to work out constantly how big's that frog plug, is that egg crate I can see, or you know, and it turns up and it's like a micro.
Yeah.
And you just go, jeez. So it's all that. But yeah, I mean, you're right. I would much prefer to go to a place and look at it, meet the people that run it, and just get it. But maybe after that, I would be more prepared to buy online. You know, it's like if AAC go online and I'm that lazy, I might just buy some frags online rather than go to the shop because I know the shop, I know what they're going to be like. But I probably won't, because I like to go and take the piss out of Barry, really.
I think the
other
problem with
he works there, so not just a random bloke in the car park.
Oh dear.
On the subject of buying online and talking to people and stuff, I want to give Christian at Signature Frags a little shout out, because I sent him a random WhatsApp one night and he started replying and he's given me so much advice. So I understand that buying online is easier and you feel like you're not doing a face-to-face, but Christian's actually got a really good balance with it. So keep it up, Christian.
Yes.
Well, I guess the other thing is where you guys live in the north. I'm not going to be disparaging, right? I'm just saying, but you're probably the density of reefers is probably more spread out than it is down in the south, isn't it? I mean, basically, London's down the road, 9 million people in it. They're going to travel out to AAC because it's not far up the motorway. You know, where I'm in Brentwood, it's easy to get a train out from London. So we've just got more people in a smaller area than you have. So I guess buying online for you guys makes more sense, because otherwise you got a 3-hour round trip to, I don't know how far Signature Frags is from you, Tom, but
about 40 minutes. But I mean, that was part of the excitement. I mean, I've done some road trips with Kaz, the missus, over the years, you know, for corals, and we've sat with buckets of, you know, acro or whatever LPS from not necessarily tank breakdown, but from other reefers. But because there's just less and less coming in, there seems to be less and less, you know, you really have to, it's almost like a secret code to get, you know, talking to somebody who's got a piece of this, that, or the other that you need, because you just cannot find it anywhere else. And it's nothing mega expensive or rainbow or a cartoon name. It's just a really nice coral that has just fallen out of the community for God knows how many years, and not many people have kept it alive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we used to drive all over for some of the old school sticks. But anyway, we've got off topic here quite a bit. So we're just pulling back.
We're in a different country now, mate.
Setting up a new reef tank. So we've talked about if you can get hold of live rock, get hold of live rock. I think we're all in agreement on that one, or some form of media. I think for me these days, people are going to go more the man-made rock, because it's easier to get hold of and probably cheaper. I don't think there's going to be many shops with the live rock unless you're getting it second hand. But so I do think people will. At the end of
the day, I know everyone moans about dead rock, but at the end of the day, most of the reefers probably that have come into the hobby in the last 4 years are using dead rock, and you can set up a tank with a dead rock. It's not like it doesn't work, but you've got to be slightly bit more patient, I think, in the setup of it. And
definitely,
just everything just takes a bit longer, but it's it's definitely doable, isn't it?
People need to start selling dead man-made rock, but make it live.
Live, yeah. It's not hard.
I've got a gigantic big vat full of completely clean rock, so no pests, but it's cycled and it's ready to go. And I don't know why we've not quite.
Yeah, it makes sense, doesn't it?
Here in the UK, I'm definitely going to do it when we go retail, 100%.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like a difficult thing to do, really. I mean, obviously, if you've got the space, it takes space, but you know, to chuck some rock in a vat, which is what you do at home, basically. When
another thing we're going to be doing is delivery. So, you know, somebody wants quite a lot of live rock. They don't need to think about keeping it wet, keeping it warm, all the rest of it. We'll do all that.
Yeah. You're going to keep it wet.
I mean, What I was going to say on that is what John's saying. Dry rug is the scaping side of it. I mean, you know, if you've got a new tank and you want to scape it, you can do it dry, can't you? And you can sit and ponder, am I happy with that? And looking at it from all angles and whatever else, for hours on end.
Climbed in the tank and did mine. I did it in the tank. I bought 10 boxes of that D&D rock. I smashed them up with a hammer and I sat in the tank and I just scaped it while I was in there.
Yeah, I spent 2 weeks doing this, just messing around.
Oh, I spent.
You'll sign your tank as well. You sign it.
Yeah, with my knees up at my chest.
Oh dear. So we're saying live rock if you can get it. Obviously, man-made. I think the only thing I'd say about man-made rock is just you're gonna have to deal with a lot of silicates and potential other issues. Like I had mega issues with the phosphate coming out of this for, I think it was 6 months. I went to, the Hannah checker was blinking. And when I did the sulfate, it was just like navy blue. So yeah, if you are going to do it, be patient.
Yeah, I think the only issue I've had with some of the, I'm trying to think, real reef rock I used before is what I don't like about that is it's just so dense. It's like just
the Caribbean stuff is. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very little porosity.
So your brain just goes, that is not a porous rock. And so really, I don't know if there is rock out. I mean, some of the D&D stuff's reasonably good. It seems to vary quite a lot within the single box as well.
Can you remember
very dense?
Remember the Picani rock that came out a while ago? That was nice rock.
Yeah, that was
nice.
Beautiful.
Really nice Picani rock.
Yeah. So I think buying there's a big spectrum within that dead rock that's available to really just very dense. I don't like that real reef rock, to be honest. It's like concrete. I don't think it doesn't feel like. And even if you smash it with a hammer, it's just the cross section is just solid. You think, well, nothing's going to get in there and be living and acting as a biofilter, is it? And then, as you say, right down the other end, you can get things like that. I don't think you can still get that Picani rock, but some of the Marco rock seems pretty good. Some of the D&D stuff seems quite porous, but so I think it's going to be hard enough anyway using all dead rock. But obviously, I would pick something that's a lot more porous if you can get it. Plus, you get more for the weight because they sell it by weight, don't they? So.
Definitely make sure that the floor is level. I'd say if you're setting up a new reef tank, that's always a good one and sturdy. Because I think there's a lot of people. Good starter. Yeah. No, I know people put them on big tanks on floorboards and had issues over time with tanks, moving a little bit.
Yeah, I think that a lot actually, especially because a lot of old houses in the UK are they're built on joists, aren't they, and floorboards? They're not concrete floors, and I mean water is heavy. And the other thing is, you set your tank up, you level it fine to start with. You're going to spill water. At some point, you're going to drip water over the floor. It's going to go soak through. It's going to possibly swell the floorboards, weaken the joists, and maybe 2 or 3 years down the line, you're going to get a bit of sag.
Yeah,
don't we all?
Yeah, exactly. Natural progression of life. We all see it. And unlucky, if it causes a seam split or something. But I do think that is part of the problem when people don't necessarily think about the structure they're putting the tank on.
If you just going back to the rock for a second, sorry, keep going on about this. I'd definitely soak it if you could. If you're going to get a man-made rock scape that you're happy with, brand new out of a box, I'd definitely soak it. I mean, that's easy. I'm just thinking of things that people can do that are
cost effective. The ceramic ones?
Yeah.
I've definitely soaked those because
definitely soak it.
A lot of stuff in them coming out, leaching for months sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You soak it in RO.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Soak it in RO.
I'll say RO and replenish it as well, because that constantly, that osmotic pull just keep pulling stuff out of that rock.
Definitely do that. I definitely do that. That's something I do. And like to be fair, like Ron's saying, I don't understand why you can't buy it already seeded. It makes sense. I suppose if you've got to be happy with the scape though, because if you're not happy with the scape, then you're going to kill all that that bacteria off by messing around with milliput for the next several days. But,
I think the other thing is, when you set up the first tank and there's obviously no life in it, people get quite obsessed with their scapes of their rock. They want it to, and then, I mean, technically, if you've got a good scape, you shouldn't see it once your corals have all grown in, really. So as long as you take in the fact that you don't want to create loads of areas, shades and dead spots, you want it reasonably open, but still areas for fish to hide. I mean, as I've already said, I'm artistically stunted. Yeah. So I've got no creative gene in my head. Most things that most people go, oh, it looks amazing and pretty. I go, looks shit. I literally did that on World Wild Corals when Vic showed the tank in his office. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure 99.9% of people look at that tank and go, "That looks amazing." My brain just went, "Crap." I don't.
You're about the one with the calls it a bonsai style.
Smothered in corals.
Yeah,
all the colours under the rainbow in one, and my brain just goes, that just looks unnatural. It's weird, isn't it?
Okay, all right.
But anyway, but we've gone off again, haven't we? So but I would say personally, I wouldn't spend hours and hours agonising over your rockscape when the idea of it's just there as a base structure to support the things you really want in your tank, which is the corals. I think it's what
I would say from experience with the rockscape, as I showed in my earlier pictures, don't try and avoid any rock touching the glass of the tank or being as far away as possible. Would be a bit of advice I'd give to people on that. So you want room for fish to be able to swim around. You want room for flow, and you also want room for corals to be able to grow out without ending up sticking to the glass. So
because you want to be able to get your scraper down as well, don't you? About smashing pieces. Yeah.
So I definitely make sure that you're not. I mean, it's tempting to have it leant against the back panel of your tank. If you can try and avoid that, especially if the detritus building up as well, is try and have it a good, inch or even if it's just an inch or two away from that back panel, just to help you.
I think it's quite rare now to see reefers putting things against the glass. I mean, I know Paul's got his floating aquascape and he's fit, but that's fixed. So because it's obviously fixed surface, you can't get any detritus behind it, can he?
I just think people tend to. I did it again on earlier tanks. I don't know why I did it. I don't know whether other people do, but I just had this. I was transfixed on trying to hide the weir. It was so ugly. It was like spoilt the middle of the tank. So I just sort of like put as much rock so you couldn't see the weir. Didn't think that really my process should have been getting the corals to grow so you can't see any of it, but at the time it was just getting the rock to cover the weir. I think a lot of people fall into that and they push the rock back because that gives them this sand bed in front of the glass if they are having sand. So in their end, you can have more, meaty corals or LPS or whatever. And all it's doing at the back is it's stopping any flow from getting in there. I mean, it might be good for certain creatures to hide in, but I think you suddenly realise that to bring it off a little bit and have less rock. Again, as you saw in my earlier picture, I filled my tank, like you said, Ron. JCB turned up, but less is more, is what I'd say. Less is more when it comes to escape.
And I think also with the advent of like the bio blocks and the ceramic media you can put in the sump, you don't have to have as much. I mean, I know you got issues with the trace elements being taken out, haven't you, with some of that ceramic media. But it allows you to have a freer aquascape if you're going to put some of the stuff in the sump,
I mean, man, can't get the surface and no rock, and it's only got max spec bricks and the pump, and I scrape every single surface every couple of weeks in there, so I'm getting rid of all biological film all over everything, swapping the racks out. So those bio blocks are amazing for that.
I'd definitely say if you don't want to put live rock from somebody else's tank because of the hitchhikers or critters or whatever, put it in the sump. Definitely put it in the sump. Make room for it in the sump. You've got to. That's definitely, I'd say, setting up a new reef tank. If you're going to go man-made rock, soak it, like we said, for get silicates and phosphates and keep testing it, because it's going to be much easier to deal with a water change in a vat of RO than keep constantly doing a water change and it costing you 60, 70 quid a bucket of salt.
Costing you fortunes.
Cost you a fortune. So I definitely do that. And then if you can, if you do know some, life sands, and if you've got somebody like we say who's got the media, because the media is cleaner, isn't it? Because you can see the media balls or bio balls. There's not going to be anything crawling on it necessarily. There might be some, amphipods or whatever. But yeah, definitely put that in your sump, and I think that's a massive, advantage for people setting up a new tank. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely hit the ground running, isn't it, with your bio load basically, rather than starting from bugger all.
Any toys, gizmos, things that you'd think people setting up a new reef tank should have in their head, or should be planning?
Full controller of everything.
Yep,
absolutely.
100%.
I mean, I've got to be honest. I've never run a tank without a controller, so I don't actually know. I honestly think I would really struggle not to be able to pick my phone up and just go, "Boss, what's my pH at? What's my alk at? What's my?" Because I've done it religiously for like 8 years now, and I think I would struggle to go. There's a tank sitting over there, and I don't know what the alk is at this moment in time, or I don't know what the pH is. It's probably a mental thing. I know thousands of people run without controllers quite happily, but I guess because I've always done it, I'd really struggle not to have that facility available to me. I just like it. I just like to know where the tank is. Yeah,
it's not a must-have though. It's a nice to have, isn't it?
No, it's not a must-have. No.
I talked to Fish Palace Buyers Friday night, and for me, I think if I look at it logically, there's that many different bits of kit that you can buy. From ranging from, I don't know, say 100 quid all the way up to 1,000 quid if you're going to go full hog with the toys. And if you're going to buy any of it, at least buy one of them that has got it's Wi-Fi enabled, so it sends you a notification if you've got a power cut. Because obviously Jay's had the recent issue of going on a holiday, and if he'd have had a device that sent him a notification of some form, whatever toy it was, gadget, he would have probably known. It might have caught it. So the point I'm trying to make is that depending on your lifestyle, I mean, if you're in your house all the time and, great, but if you work a lot or you're away or you're going to go away at the weekend, at least have one bit of, can be a temperature controller. It could be doesn't have to be a, pH probe or whatever.
If you're setting up your very first tank, I mean, I think, you don't need that obviously right at the beginning, do you? But I think probably a temperature controller would be like, definitely.
I just think something that sends you the notification though of saying it's lost its power would be such an advantage, and you don't have to spend the top end to get that functionality. Is all I'm saying. I mean,
obviously the problem with those things is if your house is dead, obviously there's no power to the house, then your router's dead and you're not going to get the message, are you?
But you see, I've got a little
There's a way around it,
and it's got a SIM card in it and a battery, and it sends me a text. So that's actually
I've got one of those,
and that pings me. I can also cycle the power with it as well.
So what's the SMS message? It just says coral's dead. Is that
you're fucked? Don't come in anytime soon because they are fucked. Therefore, if you run here, you're just going to see them quicker.
Oh God!
Come in when you fancy. Everything's dead.
Pop in and see them.
Put a peg for your nose.
Yeah, so what does that do? That plugged into the wall?
Yes.
Yeah.
You got the same, Tom?
Sorry?
You got the same, Tom? You got the same?
I've got one. I'm not. Yeah, I've got one. Move on now. Mine's not even plugged in.
Oh Jesus! Is it sitting next to his uncalibrated, unplugged-in trident?
What? Tom,
have you got your fans done yet? To switch on.
No, not done the fan yet. I've not done the fan. I'm going to do that today, and I'm going to do it today. Hey, mate, yesterday I did the water change on Friday on this. And I did the garage. I was in the garage yesterday and messed around with the frag tank. Anyway,
I was thinking about to change the other day. Sorry, just because I got confused. So you siphon your tank out into a 25-litre drum, and then you rush to the end. You hold your thumb over the end, and you empty the 25 litres down the drain.
No, I don't rush to the end. I have a general stride.
All right, you amble down to the end. But why are you doing that? I don't understand why don't you just put a hose straight down the drain?
Because I'm measuring how much I'm taking out.
Quantity.
Because I'm measuring how much I'm taking out. I'm
I
counting how much
understand
volume.
The first time you count out and then you mark where the level is, surely. And then you just, next time you just go, I drain to that level. I know I've taken out 100 litres or 200 litres. Sure, every single time you count it out.
Yeah, I do.
Wow.
I do. Oh, okay. I'm just meticulous. So that's all I can say. Meticulous.
You say meticulous. I say special needs.
Oh dear.
That is going to get me not asking one.
I did exactly the same thing though. I just got a mark on the tank and I went 100 litres out my display. The level would drop to there, and I just cycled it out. And then surely that'd be easier, wouldn't it?
Could do that, but sometimes what I tend to do, in my defence, if I may speak,
it's your stream. You can cut me off at any time.
Cheers. Oh yeah, how'd I do that? No, what I have been doing is I've been using some of the water out of this and putting it into the garage tank, because that was bottoming out at one point a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. Got no phosphate and no nitrate in it, and the alkalinity was a little bit low. So I was literally taking the water out of it and shoving it in there. Okay. I've been using fresh water.
It took you 4 hours to do a water change. In my head, I went, "That's a long time. That's a big investment. 4 hours to do a water change, isn't it?" So I was just trying to make it, expedite the process.
You were thinking of me. That's nice.
I was, yeah. I just went, I don't understand why it's filling up a container and then literally tipping it down the drain. We just go straight down the drain.
It could do. I get what you... Are you a big advocate, Ron?
Yes. Every system I have has a Neptune and an automatic water change system on it.
Yeah, it is nice.
Yeah.
Love it.
You could just do a gravel vac then, couldn't you? Once a week or whatever for...
That's what I do.
I don't have any sand, so solid win for me.
Yeah, I mean, if you took the sand out, you'd be down to like 15 minutes.
No, I'm not taking gravel out.
Let's make it
gravel out and get some nice wavy stuff in there. That tank will look amazing.
Come on, Tom.
Oh dear. Anyway, come on. Back to the topic. Right.
Oh yeah. So first time I'd definitely say heater controller would probably be. If you didn't want to buy any fancy gear, I would definitely say get that.
Yeah. When we first got the hobby, Kaz had a little fluval tank in the living room in the old house, because we got to a point where we were sort of like, she was picking corals for me in my tank, and I was like, no, I don't want those. So I was like, tell you what, you could just have a little tank, set it up, rear sump or whatever it was. And that was on a manual heater, and we came in one day from wherever we were, and that had gone, and it wiped out the whole tank, apart from the clownfish, I think, survived. Yeah, so bring me on the temperature controller. Yeah. And so that kicked her out of the hobby, and if she'd still be in the hobby, this room would probably be a living aquarium right now, if we were probably still in it. But anyway, such is life. Such is life.
Can't support that heater.
There are some people out there selling seeded rock. Lee saying Kettering Aquatic sells seeded rock. Liam saying is LFS sells Carriers Sea rock as live rock, and it's just seeded. My argument was it's concrete and not porous, like you're saying, and you've only got surface bacteria. So call them out on the salinity at 43.
43.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Get the feeling they're not topping that off.
Yeah. I would rather add the waste of protein skimmer from another reefer.
Yeah, I mean, it's bacteria.
Yeah.
The thing about skimmate in a protein skimmer is it's about 40% bacteria and 60% of it isn't. It's pulling out traces and metals and all sorts of other stuff. So I'm not sure I might put a bit in, but I'd probably
just a wee shot. Just
just like a vodka glass full.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to get bacteria in there, aren't you? But I think that it would be a lot safer just to get someone with some bio balls or a brick or something.
Yeah.
Plus, you got to just walk through the street with a glass of skimmates to your house. Looks a bit strange.
A glass of smelly, shitty water.
That's it, yeah. Big frothy. Yeah. I don't know where I'm going. I'm going random again.
Guinness.
I'm doing
Back to
too many live
topic,
streams.
Jen. Oh my God, I feel like I've got two toddlers here running riot around my living room.
I am seriously trying so fucking hard. You have no idea. I'm sitting here. It could be way worse.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
I mean, oh my God, Tom, yeah. Believe me.
So is this the live version?
3 p.m. today.
Ron does a 2-hour live stream, and time he's edited it, it's about 12 minutes long.
12 minutes.
12 minutes long.
Yeah.
Would you both agree that for people setting up a new reef tank to get into the early mindset of water changes? Would you agree with me on that one?
Yes.
Yeah, from day one.
Yeah, because you've got to get used to the idea of where you're going to get your water. Are you going to have an RO set up, which is plumbing in your house? Loads of reasons, 100%.
Yeah, I think that's a massive do, is definitely doing water changes, because you're going to have more chance of having success again, I would say.
Yeah, you are, absolutely.
Ellie's saying most of my gear is second-hand, much cheaper. Yeah, talked about that Friday night. Yeah, good point. Very much. I absolutely agree with Rob. I do the same with Rob. Water changes. Little black Sharpie mark, only I can see where to drain. Yeah, well, maybe I should go to work on a yellow bus, but yeah, other than that, I prefer measuring it out. But yeah, for the time being.
Yeah. Sitting there licking the windows.
That's the one. Yeah, yeah. Sand for the win. Oh, okay.
No. Boo to say.
Sand boo.
Sand boo.
Do you want to do a poll? We haven't done a poll, have we?
Oh, what? Sand or no sand?
Yeah, I'll do a poll.
I think that's going to be sandy.
It's going to be gritty.
Most people like sand, don't they? At the end of the day,
Chucked it in anyway. So come on, you two, come on, contribute to the actual topic, other than the entertainment value.
Come on, take control.
So we've talked about getting a tank. Would you buy it second hand or brand new? Rob, you bought brand new, and you'd always buy brand new. I bought second hand. Ron, you did. Yeah. We talked about getting Rockscape. If you're going to go man-made, soaking it. If you can get second-hand live rock or media, put it in the sump as an advantage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Toys-wise, we've talked about. I'm saying something that can give you a notification if you've got a power cut. Fair point, Rob. If you power cut and your Wi-Fi's off, are you going to get that notification? But also, we're saying temperature controller is a must. Anything else we could talk about? Water changes. Sorry, we're saying, big advocate of that. Just get into the mindset of doing a water change. Anything else we can think of for somebody setting up a new reef aquarium? What would we be advising moving forward?
Lights.
Yeah, lighting. Yeah.
You need a light.
Flow.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say, you need
flow.
Pumps in there. Probably don't need a skimmer immediately, do you?
No. I certainly wouldn't run it straight away, that's for sure.
I mean, I would always, just for me personally, I would not run socks or anything which is just a drain mentally. I know you run floss, don't you, Tom?
Yes. But is that okay, Dad? Am I all right with that? Am I okay to have floss today? You gonna comment on floss?
You learned that.
No. I can't afford 30 quid toilet rolls like you.
Right. What I was going to say is, it depends on. I run a filter roller because when I go away, I don't want to have to think about what am I doing to export. It's something that if I have to do it like you do with your floss every day, I don't have people to come and look after the tank when I'm away. Well, someone feed the tank, but they're not going to get involved in anything that involves pulling out a stinky sock or floss. So I went down the filter roller route because I want my tank to act the same as possible when I'm not with it and as when I'm with it. So that's why I would say, if possible, I'll go down the filter. I mean, you don't need one right at the start setting up a tank, do you? Yeah. But maybe I would get a sump which would allow you to fit a filter roller in easily. I think Red Sea, do they actually make their sumps from the get-go to fit the filter plate?
They do have to
cut it out.
Yeah, they do now.
Yeah. So so that's something I'd think about when I was setting up the first tank.
Oh,
Might not want it necessarily immediately, but
Yeah, I've got a roller filter for all 4 of my tanks.
Yeah.
So are you roller filter or what are you Ron? Roller filter, sock, floss? What's your preference?
Roller filters on every tank I own.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
easy.
Dealing with stinky socks is disgusting, and it can cause trouble in a marriage. You know, you're not putting your fine linen shirt in there after a sock full of fish shit that's just tumbled around in there for an hour and a half.
Oh, yeah. Great.
Yeah, that is
right.
true.
I'm just going to jump to the poll. Unfortunately, you guys lose. Sand wins 90%.
Yeah, 90. Wow,
90%.
Yeah.
Sand. Thanks to everybody who voted on that one. There's a good comment. There's a good comment here, to be fair, that Jams make, and I'm sure we would all agree. Learn to test your water. Yeah.
Yeah.
I still can't. I still, from time to time, and I don't think there's not necessarily anything wrong with it if you find it a bit intimidating, but you need to practice. There's still people that go to LFSs and ask people to test the water. I mean, I did it in the early days, because I think I want a second opinion more than anything. But these days, yeah, definitely, I would agree with Jam on that. Learn to test your water. Big. And be consistent with your, you know, whatever. I think it's less. This is the precision and accuracy argument, isn't it? Really, two slightly different things. But I think when you test, even if technically you're testing incorrectly, maybe compared to what they would advise you to do, if you always test that way, then your numbers, they might not be consistent, but they're consistent, aren't they? Yeah. I think that's more important than getting
testing at the same time.
And in the same way. With
even
the
get
kit.
one of those mechanical pipetters that takes exactly the time instead of eyeballing it. Consistency is 100%.
Yeah, and just find, you know, you don't have to spend £1 million on 6,000 Hannah eggs either, do you? I mean, you know, the cheap. I like Salifert. I just like them. They're cheap. They do titration. Been around for donkey's years. Yeah, it's just a simple titration test on the colour change. You only Hannah checker eyes for phosphate because I just find reading those, you know, the colour change on that. They're very subtle, and for me, I'm just like, no, I don't know what that is.
The ultra low phosphorus one you use, which is the parts per billion.
No, that's what I use. Yeah,
that's the one I use as well.
Yeah,
it was the parts per billion.
The other one.
Yeah. The parts per million one, the phosphorus one, phosphate one, sorry.
Phosphate, yeah, I'll use that one.
Question for us, what's everybody's opinions on skimmers from day one? I think we said not necessary. I'd say I'd get one that can do that's up to the job, is what I would say, because I went through 3 skimmers in one of my second systems, because every one I kept buying was just not capable of the
rubbish.
The Aqua 1. Did you have the original Aqua 1 with yours, Tom? Because that was garbage.
No, but I had one that was designed very similar. It was a TMC hang-on one with like a big microphone that went into the sump.
Rubbish.
It was absolute horrendous. And it went in the bin. It was about 130 quid, that brand new. And then I bought a second-hand Curve, Publimagus one.
That's the second skimmer I got.
Yeah. There you go. Wow. See, we've got a lot more in common than Rob. You're standing around with me, mate. Forget him.
Yeah, my first skimmer was the Bubble King. No, it wasn't.
Fuck off.
No, it wasn't. No. It's that MRC 10-foot thing.
Yeah.
No, I went Deltec. Actually, first skimmer. Loved it. Thought it worked fine.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with them.
My third skimmer was the Deltec.
Yeah. I mean, so like this current tank, I didn't have the first year. I don't think I had a skimmer on it. Just didn't need it, you know. So it's one of those. I would always off-put the price of spending.
I would always say if you can though, get a skimmer that's probably bigger rated than your tank it needs for it. From experience, I've had a lot more success having a bigger skimmer than I probably needed than having a smaller one, and then have the issue of still battling nutrients. So
I think it's a sweet spot. Isn't it? I mean, you don't want to
turn it on and off if it's. No, but you can get one. All I'm saying is get one. I mean, the footprint is obviously going to be a big issue with your sump, isn't it, in terms of how big your sump is, how much room it takes. So all I'm saying is if you're umming and ahhing, you know, for the sake of whatever it is, 20, 30, 50 quid, I'd always go for the bigger one, because if it gets to a point where it's ticking out too much, you just turn it off.
Yeah, you don't have to run it 24/7, do you?
No.
There was a YouTube video not that long ago, and people were saying, don't go too big a skimmer, because they then
Really?
because the bioload in your
Oh,
tank
right. Thanks.
to make the skimmer
Skim.
Yeah. And obviously, if you run filter rollers, people say you can slightly
Take too much out. Yeah.
So you don't need as big a skimmer, but yeah.
That's why I don't run the filter roller, because I want some of the food and goodness to go to the live rock and everything else living in the sump. So I don't.
Yeah, that's my only gripe with the one I've got, the Wild Exclusive one, is there's no my dog's just come under the desk. I thought it was lucky there. There's no bypass on it. So most filter rollers, they have like a little gate that you can open, so it's all together. So I've got no way of doing that. So like everything has to go through the roller filter, which is a bit of I would have liked the option to easily bypass some of it if I wanted to. You can't even get a smaller roll because it doesn't roll properly on the thing. It has to fit within the ends. So yeah, that would be my only gripe with that. But I do like them.
Auto water change. Auto water change. Users floss in 2024. Yeah. Do you know the worst thing about this, Ron? I've actually got I've actually got the kit upstairs, and I've just never used it.
Oh,
yeah, I know you're going to face plant.
Tom's list of stuff that he's not using is about twice the length of the stuff he is using.
I'm
trying to keep it.
Sound bites that I could drop for all of these. I can't believe I missed the opportunity to drop a bricktop snatch one when you were talking about the dog giving you a gobble under the desk, Rob.
Wow. Okay. Anyway,
that's not what I said.
ATO should be something added from day one. Yeah, I'd agree with auto top-ups.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Auto top-ups.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, that's...
And Lee's saying he's got one of the TMC skimmers at his mum's. Sorry, Rob. He got one of them. So if anybody don't know why he's felt it necessary to tell us it was at his mum's, but if anybody wants to...
Your mum is a lucky lady.
She is, yeah.
Is that a Mother's Day gift?
It's it.
Oh dear.
I was going to make her anyway. I'm not.
What's I
talking about? No, ATO. Yeah, I mean ATO is a good point, isn't it? So if you buy a custom-made tank like the Red Sea, they're built in, aren't they, to the sump? You just have that gravity-fed container. But otherwise, yeah, that is an essential bit of kit, because even with the best intentions of the world, manually topping off RO, you're going to forget at some point, or you're going to underdo it, overdo it. So yeah, automating that is a very simple thing. Which is, and to be fair, that is a good point, because I think one of the things which most people don't understand when they go into the saltwater world is that evaporation is only fresh water. It's a weird concept for some people, isn't it? They just think, especially if you come from fresh water, your level drops down, you fill it up with water. But you don't do that in this hobby, do you? So I think that's one of those unique things to this hobby which doesn't translate across from freshwater.
Well, we talked about it Friday night, and say if you're going to go to the ATO, you've got to have some way of measuring your salinity for that exact reason.
Yes. Yeah.
Because otherwise, there's no point.
So you got a Milwaukee?
I use the Milwaukee.
I don't know what's a refraction.
Throw that in the fucking bin.
What? Oh, the Milwaukee.
Yes.
That's two of us. Let's have a poll.
No.
Just for the three of us.
Yeah, let's have a poll.
Because that's where mine went in the bin as well, Bun.
Yep.
I'm not asking the question if it's bin or not.
One didn't work. I sent the one that did work over to our friend in America.
Yeah.
What? You didn't like him?
Mine worked for a while, but I was never really happy with the results he gave. They were always slightly off. And then it just gave me a whole series of just random crap.
Did you
results.
ever put a drop on the little eyeglass thing, push the button, and then push the button again and again and again and see what the results were? It's pretty fucking random.
I'd imagine I did.
You've got to keep the you've got to keep the temperature.
Yeah, and you have to get the extraneous light out, don't you? So you can get cover it with your hand or something. But in the end, it's just the thing is, you've got to have faith in the equipment you're using, haven't you? And when you get a whole series of spurious results, you just go, I don't trust it. So I just went straight in the bin.
Salinity is far too important.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. But mine works and it matches the ICPs that I get back. So
yeah,
that's why I use it.
Tank 40 parts per thousand. He's happy.
Oh, God. I think I spelled these right. Might not have done. There we go. See what people put in there. I can only have 4 options. So,
just out of interest, sorry, can I just interject? Tom, not Tom, Ron, can you see the poll on your screen? You can't?
Nope.
Right, okay. Yeah, because I never see them either. When you put polls up. Well,
so it'll be on YouTube though, because we're on StreamYard.
Is that how you see it though, Tom? You see it on a you got.
I can see it in the. I can see it in the studio. That's where I'm putting it. But if you want to vote and you want to influence it, you know, the results to in your favour, your and Ron's favour.
Yeah, but I'm not by all means in this StreamYard software. That's what I'm asking.
No.
Yeah, that's
go on your phone and vote.
I always sit here going, you'll put a poll up and I don't see it, and I think, am I meant to press a button?
Yeah, I'll put that in anyway.
I've only waited 2 months to ask that question.
There's 3 tanks there as well, including a damaged 8202. I have more stuff hidden at my mum's than I have at mine. Okay, comments, Ron?
Fucking addict. So he is. Seriously.
Oh, big addict. Yeah, big addict.
Wow.
Like proper addict.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Does he have more empty
I feel we need an intervention for Lee, which means we go there with a big van and take all his stuff.
Sounds like it would need to be a really big van.
It would. Back on topic then, gentlemen. Anything you could think of? Anything you could think of that we've forgotten about? Setting up a new tank.
Right. So
testing water was the last bit, which was a good point. Learning to test.
Learning to test. Checking, getting the top-off done.
I'd say get an RO machine. I would for how much cheap they are second hand, because when I think back to the headaches of setting up earlier tanks, I'm getting on my soapbox again, but one of my biggest frustrations with the LFSs in my earlier days of being in the hobby was the opening and closing times, because they were so they were just so
nuts. It is nuts.
What I could just hear me out. What I couldn't understand is that it's not a cheap hobby. So it's a fairly expensive hobby, marine keeping. So majority, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with people that don't work or they're retired or they can't work, but majority of people work. So they would, and the majority of that majority will work, let's say office hours, so 8, 4, 9, 5, whatever. They get home to realise they need RO. By the time they've fought the way through rush hour traffic, 5, 6, whatever o'clock, the LFS is shut. And it was one of my biggest frustrations. I couldn't go before work and I couldn't go after work. I had to wait till the weekend. But then I'd be, asking favours of people who've got RO machines that I didn't really know that well, just to get enough RO to get me to the weekend when I could get to the LFS. Before I worked for myself, when you had a dinner hour and there was no way logistically that I could get from where I was to an LFS to get RO water. So I think I'd definitely get an RO machine for that, because it would save me a lot of headache.
Yeah, I just think it's just nice to be able to make your own water and have it on tap whenever you need it for any emergencies, which will crop up at some point. It's just control of it,
and you trust what's coming out of your machine as opposed to what's coming out of their machine, because there's some nightmare RO coming out of LFSs.
Well, John's just
put over time it probably pays for itself.
Exactly that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely. Yeah. What have we got here? The idea of cleaning up crew, selecting the right species, the right amount of compatibility. Now, very first day, but fairly at the beginning.
Who's that? Reef Beef podcast. Is that as in Reef Beef, as in Richard Ross Reef Beef, or is that someone else?
Where are you looking here?
in the
I can't
comments.
see it.
All right, okay. Liam's put in. Hey Ben, don't know. Hang on,
maybe
trying to
it's
drop up. Oh, here we go. Yeah, this is it. Yeah, afternoon. Thanks for joining us.
So that'll either
Hope you're well.
that'll either be Rich Ross, Ben Johnson,
Ben
or
Johnson,
Snowman.
Or Snowman. Yeah.
Right. Oh, I'm jumping to the poll. I'll end it. There you go. 69% said refractometer.
Yeah.
Sorry.
How do you test your salinity? 69% said refractometer, 23% hydrometer, 7% Hannah pen.
And a pen. No one uses a salinity
I didn't put.
probe.
No, nobody uses a salinity probe.
Yeah, I think that sums up a salinity probe, doesn't it?
Yeah, I've switched mine off on every Apex I own. I've got it switched off. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, gives you the same result.
It does.
Yeah.
So mine's switched on and says 0. So I should take it out, really, shouldn't I? But
yeah.
Well, it's just another probe you have to calibrate, so I'm not bothered.
Yeah.
Anything you have to calibrate is a ball ache.
Looks like the Hannah pens have slightly gone out because they were all the rage, weren't they, a couple of years ago? Everyone's like, oh my god, yeah, these are amazing.
I love mine. I've got 2. I
Yours,
absolutely love them. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, and I know it's a controversial one, but mine work great. I calibrate them once a month. They've not ever let me down.
Okay, yeah, mine was fine probably for I reckon a year, and then it just drifted. And even I would calibrate it and instantly take it from the calibration solution, rinse it, put it in the tank, and it just give me a weird, 21.
Yeah. I mean, everyone can't be wrong. There's a lot of people out there that really, really don't like them. So it must just be your luck.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I've had one. And I use mine for the temperature side of it because it does the salinity and temperature underneath.
Yeah.
I use this, so I haven't thrown it away because it does the temperature. But other than that, I fell out of love with it early on. Just getting random results, like constant, inconsistent, and that was with calibrating it as well. But
see, on the subject of checking temperature in your reef tank, one of the biggest wins I've found is just a food probe. They are so much more accurate and quicker to read.
Really?
Yes. Just
I like these.
A food temperature probe. You just stick it in the water. But yep, I've got one of them. I bought one this week.
Oh, have you? Yeah, I like. You got one of these, Tom? Yeah. So it's like a.
What did you do? Nick that from Aldi?
It's like a laser gun. Yeah, I just mugged this kid down the aisle for it. I went, I'm having that.
I think that's the exact one I've got.
Is it? Yeah, I mean, they're accurate. They're good.
It's really, really interesting how much cooler your balls are to the rest of you, though.
Oh my god!
We are designed that way to keep it cool.
Yeah.
Guys. Come on.
And since he's been checking that, he's got 3 of them now.
I do.
Anyway, but
3 balls or 3 guns.
3 balls.
Dear.
They're handy. They're good. And when you first buy them, you just you're on the side of your fish.
You're shooting
on your
everything.
corals. Yeah,
shooting everything.
That. Yeah, you're like a child.
Here's an interesting thing I found with that laser, Rob. My fish tank walls and rock are one temperature, but every coral is 2 to 3 degrees cooler than the rest of the tank.
Yes. Well, they do
I'm sciencing.
Wow.
Aren't they? You're expert.
Oh, interesting.
I am.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah. No, I read a paper on that actually about the differential in the temperature on the surface of the coral to the water surrounding it.
So the corals are your fish tank's bollocks.
Yeah, it's not what I said in the paper, but I understand where you're going. Yeah.
Well, I'm just, never mind all the waffles.
You're putting it in layman's terms.
Oh, wow.
That's the point.
That's it, yeah. So
if there's anybody,
you're only on this once.
If there is anybody that is staying in the comment that is still watching, thanks for the 28 people that still are. Appreciate that support. Could you please comment to anything that you think that we've missed out on in terms of setting up a new reef tank that is relevant other than Ron's 3 balls and his temperature probe? That would be really appreciated.
Yeah. So what temperature would you advise a new reefer to run their tank at, Tom?
I would say 25 to 26.
Right. What do you run?
Is it just
25?
25.5.
Oh, hello.
Yeah, right in the middle. I've run my warmer because I wanted to do it with the information I read on sticks and where they come from.
Yeah,
the temperatures they used to.
I'm in total agreement with you, Tom. I think most people run a bit cold, personally.
Yeah. I think 25 to 26 will give you a much wider sort of spectrum of what you can and can't have, what you can have in terms of what you can't have in terms of flourish and whatever else.
I think the fish prefer it as well, to be honest, to be a bit warmer. I think 25 is a bit chilly for a lot of them tropical fish we get. I've said it a million times. I've never dived on any reef at 25 degrees.
Yeah.
Just never. They're all
I run at 27 to 28 long. That's why you asked the question. We're a lot warmer.
Right. Now, the reason why I don't do that is for a little bit of headroom when it does actually, I know this is going to sound ridiculous, when it does get warmer in Scotland. I like to have a little bit, fuck off, Rob.
So you're obviously still waiting for that phenomenon to hit, are you?
We had...
One's like stoking the boilers. Come on, global warming.
We had 19 degrees yesterday. I must be the only person that's in agreement.
Are you adding up 2 days there?
Yeah.
Right.
I must be the only person I know that's in agreement with Ali G years ago when he talked about global warming. He's like, let's make it happen.
Yeah. Can we hit the 20?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ibiza in Scotland. That's what you want. How often does Tom do this, by the way? Does he just get bored and randomly just
first time he's ever done it, so I don't know what that says, Tom, about you, Ron.
Oh, yeah, he's just bored.
I needed a top up. Needed a kind of coat. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. That's right. How often do you feed your fish as well? Yeah, about food for your fish and stuff. Should you feed your corals in your first tank? I don't feed corals full stop, but...
No, I think...
Not directly.
If I look in this marine larder at the side of me, I've got, God knows, I could open it, shot myself with all the...
Wow, sitting
marine larder.
It is. I bet if... do you want, go on, I'll show you.
You make your own food or not? Or is it all... No,
I do, but I'm just going to... This cupboard has got stuff I've bought or collected, and I bet half of it's out of date. Reef Voids.
Yeah.
Reef Enhancer.
Right.
Rock Enhancer.
Oh, I know.
Viagra.
Probiotic Marine.
Cock splint.
Another one. What else we got in here? Amino acid. Benny Pets.
Forest, that last one.
Yeah, Benny Pets. Right. Amino.
Jesus.
Another one.
Do you actually use those?
Is that
here? No.
Oh, they're just sitting in the cupboard.
No, sitting in the cupboard. And then I've got, what else we got in here? We've got Calanus one, Food Energizer, Fauna one, Mines, Fauna one. Got loads of them. You just try them over the years, and some of them have worked better than others. So I stopped using some, but like you said, Rob, I just feed the fish, and the fish do the rest of it. They pull it out, and the corals benefit from it. That's all I do now. I don't supplement anything anymore.
Can I recommend you ship all of that to Lee's mum?
Yeah. Just put it in the skimmer cupboard.
Yeah. No.
Right. So you don't feed your corals with anything specific. You just feed your fish. So
No.
You just feed them frozen or pellets or? I
feed them frozen. No, in fact, I tell a lie. I do tell a lie. I shall tell a lie. I do feed. I'll put a punch of this in every day with the frozen.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. I used that for a little while.
Yeah.
I used it on a doser.
Yeah. I put that in the food with the food that you use, Rob, the BC UK one, the big ocean plankton one. That's what I use.
Okay.
Hammer it up. Yeah. And they love it. The fish love it. It is a bit keen on the phosphate, I've found, to be fair to it. I've seen the phosphates increase a bit more than I would have wanted. But no, the fish they do well on it. It works.
I think feeding fish, just feeding a tank, is a very difficult thing to get a rein in, isn't it? Because ever kind of comes and shows you how much you should feed your fish.
Yeah.
Really, you kind of eyeball it, and I think most people probably overfeed. Certainly at the start of the hobby, don't they? You get a bit, because you like to see your fish feeding and see the activity, and it's very tempting to feed them every time you walk past the tank.
Yeah.
So I think maybe if you're keen on feeding, you should use frozen rather than pellets, just because the nutritional value is probably a bit less in the frozen, but you can feed more of it, because the pellets are quite high density food, aren't they? Really,
a rocket.
A lot of them have stuff you don't necessarily want in. They pack it out with ash and stuff, don't they?
Well, I went on to the BC UK one that you use, Rob, for the simple fact that I couldn't understand. I was getting elevated levels of copper on the ICPs.
Okay.
And
it's using
I couldn't figure out. Yeah. Well, I can't prove it, so don't get any lawsuits. Can't prove it. But
definitely them. Right.
It was I was somebody who was involved in the ICPs. I was chatting to them on email, and they suggested that I looked at the they were asking me about food, what I fed the tank, blah blah blah, and I said, use this, and they were like, do you know brine shrimp? It's in a man-made salt lake, blah blah blah, and it's this, that, and the other, and started looking into it. And I was like quite surprised, to be fair, what I was reading. And anyway, I stopped and I went to the one that I was advised, the like I said, the BC UK one. That's for anybody watching, it's really good. It's all natural. I think it's blast frozen into it out in the ocean or whatever they do, and pathogen free, which was a good selling point for me. And since I've moved on to that, in about 2 months, the copper went all the way back down to where it should be, and I didn't change anything else. Still do my weekly water changes. So I can't guarantee it was from that, but the good.
I've heard a few people say that actually about heavy metal.
The good thing,
that food.
And the good thing about it was the food I use now is that there's a lot of really small particles that feed a lot of the SPS. They go nuts for it. So try.
Cool.
So
What do you feed?
Sorry,
Rob, what do you feed?
I'm struggling to concentrate because I'm bursting for a piss.
Have a piss. Can you put iron brew in a doser or not?
I don't drink iron brew, Tom.
All right, sorry. I had to get it in there. I've had enough flat this morning on my own channel.
I'm a huge fan of pellets. I feed very, very carefully with pellets, and I also soak them as well. I had a major issue a couple of years ago with HLLE and tangs because I was using cheap carbon. I had no idea that I was doing it. I thought, oh God, I'm doing something wrong. Second I stopped using carbon, the flesh started to regenerate. I also was soaking my food in Seachem Vitality and Celcon. That reversed it much quicker using these foods.
Wow.
And the pellets, because they come out the pack moist, out of the foil pack, but they still absorb quite a lot of these vitamins and things like that. So it's been quite a good win for me in terms of fish health. Also,
so do you use a spectrum of different pellets, or do you use a single type of?
I use Ocean Nutrition Formula 1 and Formula 2, so it's one's algae based and one's more kind of. I don't know what the red one is, to be honest, but I know the green one's more algae based. It's been really good. It's been really, really good for me. And also, the pellets sink when I've soaked them. Therefore, it's not going down my weir and straight into my roller filter. So there's very little waste. Also, when the smaller fish grab at the larger pellet size, so I feed both the small pellet size and the medium pellet size. When the small fish grab at the large pellets, it sets off a slight puff of food that then feeds my corals. So that's been a really good one for me, especially in the frag system.
Right.
Okay. Do you weigh your food out or not?
Do I fuck?
No. Do you weigh yours, Tom?
Fish look hungry, throw it.
I always say I weigh mine because I do 15 grams in the morning and 25 grams later in the day.
Do you need to nip to Lou, Ron? Do you need to nip for a sit-down wee?
I'm actually,
relieve yourself.
I don't know. You can't see my left hand. I've just nipped it. So.
Oh, right. Okay. You're all right then. Right.
Yeah,
okay.
For now.
For now.
Basically, he's sitting in a puddle of piss, is what he means.
If it starts to balloon at the end, I'll know it's coming.
EOI Kuhn was asking, so if the corals are 24 degrees and the water is 26, what is the temperature to, I'm assuming it means aim for? Corals are 24. All right, so go back to your magic X-ray gun, I think, here, boys. Temperature gun.
Well, I'm growing hundreds of frags in water in 25 degrees.
Sorry, I don't understand what the question is. What's the question? So if the corals are 24 degrees and water 26, what is the temperature to air for?
Aim for, I think. Yeah.
I see.
It's just, I'd say just a range. Don't chase a specific number. You're crazy if you do. Because like we're talking about testing, you're never going to get it on point. You look for a range. I mean, you want your salinity right, but other than that, you know.
Yeah, I'm going to my temperature is it's more dictated by where the tank sits naturally without me having to invest amazing amounts of energy to lower it. You know, I don't want to spend another £100 a week to bring my tank down 1 degree when it can sit. Oh, he's gone. He's gone. When he's you know, if it's going to get to 26.5 and sit there naturally, I don't want to just waste loads of energy to bring it down to 25.5. It just don't see any point to me. So I let it drift up in the summer and I let it drift down in the winter. And there's probably a 2.5 degree swing throughout the year.
But I think when it comes to temperature as well, people freak out about it. And I think I get it because they're so used to seeing a digital number on a, you know, temp controller or on the phone or whatever. They freak out because, like, you think about the ocean, you know.
There's no reef in the world that sits at a single temperature over 12 months.
Exactly.
It just doesn't exist here. I know what you mean.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, so the point I'm making is that I think, personally, and again, all in my opinion, I'm not trying to promote you to stress things, but the more, you know, of a range you've got, not crazy, you know, parameters, but you've got that range, the more you are going to harden things up in your tank because they're going to become more accustomed to those.
If it drifts up, you know, drifting up 2 degrees over 2 months, 3 months is fine. You know, it's not like you're going to go from 24 one day and 27 the next.
No,
because that's slightly abnormal. So that's not what you're going to do, is it? But you let it drift up. And drift, well, I do anyway. I just let it drift up and drift down because, well, one, it's a natural phenomenon. Two, saves me a fortune, really.
Yeah.
Everybody's pegging a temperature bang on at 25.5, 12 months a year, 3, you know. Not really that natural, is it?
No.
And I do wonder if you keep your corals in such a tight restrained when you move them, or something does go slightly wrong, whether they're a bit more fragile than they would have been otherwise.
Yeah. You know. Well, you've not commented, Rob, but I put the doors on for you behind me on the tank.
I did notice you had the doors on. I thought,
did you notice that?
That's what nice.
Thank you.
They are.
Just for you. But the reason why I take them off is we're talking about. No, you're welcome. Just for you. It's for temperature, for that exact reason, because it just blocks all the air in. It doesn't affect the pH as much as I thought it would, but blocks all the air in. Best live stream today, Alex is saying. So, Ron, thanks for your contribution. Much appreciated.
Alex gets a thumbs up.
That's it. He's laughing at you, Ron.
John saying we must get Ron on each week. I'd be interested to see Josh's face, the face that he pulls when he listens to some of the things that Ron said. But anyway, Leaf fetch me a bag. At least you didn't get ink, Tom. Don't know what you mean by that. Okay. Anything else we can think? Anything else you want to talk about? We'll wrap it up in a bit if you want.
No, I think the good thing for a new reefer is just try and find some like-minded people and pick a tank you like, and if you can, make contact with that person and just
dip your corals. Dip your corals.
Dip everything you got. Just dip it into stuff.
Bit of beef gravy, I'm going to try onion this week.
Be consistent on that. Yeah, but I think if you can find, a decent LFS or a decent reefer who's reasonably close, or you can pick the phone up to and just share your woes with, just makes life a bit easier. Because it can be a bit insular, this hobby, otherwise, can't it? There's not a lot of people reefing, is there?
Yeah, well, that's exactly why I made our reefing Discord, is because I actually don't have any other reefers. Well, sorry, there are probably reefers around me, but I don't know any personally. So it's been massive for me from a social point of view. But I think one thing I would say to your hobbyist is don't just watch loads and loads and loads of YouTube videos. You're going to get so many different opinions, and you're just going to do a shotgun approach. So I agree with you, Rob. Hone in on one. Look at the evidence that they have a good system. Because show me your tank. Let me see what you're doing. Instead of this keyboard warrior sitting at home, I've got this. You should do this. Well, show me your tank. Show me your tank.
Yeah, that should be the first point of call, really. If you're, if you want to touch base with anyone, you just go, well, show me the evidence of what you're preaching.
Yep.
And then we'll move on from there.
Is that the type of system I'm looking
it's not what I want
to run? Great. Fantastic.
I would also say, though, try and set, like you're saying, set your art on, if you do watch a YouTube or see a tank on Instagram, if you are set on that, try not on how it's going to look in however many years, months' time. Try and stick to the plan is what I'm trying to get at. Don't deviate.
Yeah. Try not, because there's no shortcuts, is there, really? It's no good looking at someone, like us, looking at your tank, Tom, and I've just bought myself a Red Sea Nano, and I'm going, oh, I want that. It's unattainable. So you've got to be realistic about it as well, haven't you?
But then I think, like I said earlier, that you've got to have the downs to appreciate the highs. It sounds painful, I know, for some, but you have got to go through the making the mistakes and things dying and things going wrong and leaving the RO machine on at, whatever time and coming down and it's flooded your living room and, your salinity's gone to cock and your skimmer's overflowed and everything's broken and the world's just gone to shit. But unfortunately, you've got to keep going, because eventually when it does go right, you'll sit down and realise, well, this is with a smile on your face. This is why I'm doing it.
And the argument of that is, if it was easy, it wouldn't be as satisfying, would it? You wouldn't have that sense of achievement. If it was a piece of piss, and you went down the shop, bought the stuff, and you just sat there and grew, and you went, well, anyone could do that. There's no resilience in it. You become a good reefer because you go through all the trials and tribulations, you go through the more downs probably than ups, and you learn from your mistakes. And at the end of it, hopefully, you come out and you look and you go, do you know what? That looks half decent. No one's ever happy with their tank, are they? Let's face it. The owner of a tank is never going to go, I've smashed every single item in that.
That's why I love reefing.
Exactly.
I never ever get to the bottom of it, ever.
Yeah, which what makes it a good hobby. But sometimes
every single day.
Difficult.
What I would say as well is take photographs of your first tank, because all jokes aside, I think for me it can give you a little bit of nostalgia, obviously from memories and whatnot, but there's also a bit of confidence building for people that might be a little bit less confident in their ability. Quite often, like you're saying, Rob, people will be like, oh, I'm not happy with that, and I'm not happy with that. But when you look at what you've achieved with your tank compared to what it was 3, 4, 5 years ago, or when you first started, it gives people, I think, it's easy to forget, and it's nice to sit there for, however long and flip back on your old tank and go, can you remember that I killed or that I got from such and such? And I think, but there is, some of the stuff I bought in the early days, it's like, no way would I buy it again. But, I had to have bought it in the first place to now know that I wouldn't buy it again, if that makes any sense. I had to go through that experience.
But you might look back and go, that actually wasn't that bad.
Well, I've got corals in my old tank that I would love to have now, because they were all indoor stuff that were a lot easier to get back then that you just cannot find anywhere. And I'm like, why did I kill that? Because that would be worth a fortune right now if I had that, But
like I say, that is part of the hobby, isn't it? Yeah. So, I'm just sitting here. I am so proud that I've done 2 hours and 40 without needing the piss.
Is that how long you've been on?
That is my achievement of the day. That is. Yeah.
So time flies when you're having fun, Ron.
Hey.
In his brain, he's going, I've got to do another one in an hour and a half or something.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's not live, so.
That's true.
No. Right, should we wrap it up there then, gentlemen?
No,
Yes.
another hour. Come on.
No, I'm not doing another hour.
Come on.
Look, you want to go? I'll go 20 minutes if you want. Wrap it up at 3.
Yay.
1 o'clock. 20 minutes.
Okay,
then.
right.
Okay.
In that case,
If there's
I
you're going to
go. You
Go on.
bastard! I'm absolutely
Anybody,
dying.
if anybody would like to put anything in the comments that you would like us to discuss or bring to the, bring to the chat, please do. I'm trying to. I've got some other pictures here on. You'd be interested.
How long is the tank behind you been running, Tom?
It is its birthday in 2 weeks. Its first birthday. So yeah.
Wow. Has it all been quite plain sailing?
No, I've battled so many issues with the nuisance algae I was getting with the silicates that were there. I didn't know the silicates levels were as bad until I bought some frags. And like an absolute idiot, turned the light up to like 80%, and it just went boing, like literally boom, and I was like, oh my god. And like, I know Rob's just nipped to the toilet, but Rob will agree with me on this. There is a lot of positives for having a big tank, but there's as many negatives. And one of the negatives when it comes to fighting something like a nuisance outbreak, it's so time consuming and heartbreaking, because I was literally got my rockscapes probably about 6 foot, 7 foot long altogether. And I literally would start with a toothbrush, scrubbing it all off, and I would get to the other end and it would have reattached itself. And I've manually removed, and I'm knitting it, and I'm siphoning it through a filter sock into the sump and everything, trying to get rid of it. And it was I thought about ringing the Ghostbusters one day. It was just getting that out around.
And obviously, you had to brush your teeth in between doing that as well. So, I mean, that's just. So, what kind of rock is that then? Is that Carib Sea? No,
it was a custom aquascape from Colin. I think he's just shut down recently, hasn't he? R&R Aquascapes. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Yeah, it was a sculpture, so it was all done. So I bought one side, that side that was in my old Red Sea tank, and then when I said I was building this, he remembered me. He obviously remembered doing it, and I said I want to follow a theme, and he did. Yeah, he did that one for me, that side. So there's 2 pieces, basically.
And you
ordered the special shipment of silica when Tom ordered the second one.
Well, that's what I was just about to
get that mixed in there.
You had
he likes a bit of that.
Because I had a problem with that with Carib Sea rock.
Yeah, massive problem with silicates. And then I was like, right, I need typical, I need to get rid of silicates. So went and bought out loads of the Serra silicate remover, which is aluminium oxide for people that don't know. So yeah, like a lot of man-made products in this hobby, they get rid of one problem, but they also give you another problem. So I elevated levels of aluminium. So then I had to do water changes to get rid of the aluminium. So if I'd just done water changes in the first place, I'd probably saved myself about 60 quid. But anyway, it is what it is.
Tom, just watching your tank behind your head, Tom.
Yeah. There's an RG situation.
Seen what fish it is, Ron?
Yes. Is that a convict tank?
That is a convict tank.
Oh, he's not happy. Although it is a chromis.
Yeah, I know. But
what's the matter? Oh, somebody bullying somebody?
Yeah, your convict is
chasing
one
hammer on your chromis.
Chromis, yeah.
It's because the chromis are laying eggs. So since I increased the temperature, so the temperature of the tank came from originally I was putting 2 T5 hybrids above it, which is what I've always run in the garage. And the temperature that they were getting to was just getting that hot with the canopy. I had to make the decision to change to LED. So they've got their coral cares on there at the minute. And since I did a bit of research in the temperature, I thought, do you know what? If I'm just going sticks only, and I know I can't guarantee that they're all going to come from the same, ocean, blah, 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 in terms of, normal conditions or water parameters. But I was going to run it a bit warmer. Since I ran it warmer, all these fish I've had for years, and the clownfish that I've had for about 10 years, they started laying eggs pretty much within space of a few weeks, and they've never done that in all the years I've had them in all the systems. And I've got 12 chromis, and I've got there's 3 breeding pairs of chromis that all lay eggs at a similar time, and it all came from raising the temperature, which I was just like, wow. but because the fish lay eggs, some of the other fish that don't lay eggs try and eat the eggs. So the chromis will have had a go at the convict because he's trying to have a nibble, and then the convict's had enough, so he's giving it the chromis back. But the chromis can stand the ground. I'll give them that. You know, they really can. And that's why I've got an issue with my larger clam at the minute, because where my largest clam is, my largest Duressa clam, it's probably too close to where the clams lay eggs. And the female, when she's laying eggs, anything that for some reason she sees the clam as a threat, she'll nip at it. Not the copper band. Yeah. Wow. So I need to move it to the other end of the tank.
I've seen a couple of threatening clams in my time.
Yeah.
You said that with such a straight face on you. You said it with such a straight face. Very well done.
It's Jack D. Jack D. Look there.
Yeah,
very much so.
Yeah, I think Lee's summed that fish up. He's just summed it up. That's all that needs to be said. Yeah.
Yeah. Cheers, Liam. Good stream. Enjoy
to definitely
get Ron on more often.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was expecting that. I was expecting a ban. Tom's like, no chance.
Yeah.
No, mate, come on. More the merrier, mate. Come on, definitely.
It does make it easier with more people. I guess it's a sweet spot, but yeah.
We did a poll on Friday night, Ron, just out of interest, about LFSs and prices of salt water. What's the going rate for salt water in around your area for a 25 litre drum?
Having never bought it, I don't know.
Ah, right, okay.
No idea.
Just curious.
Just out of interest, Ron, how close are you to the coast? Because you're on the west coast.
The beach is 1.5 miles as the crow flies.
You never been tempted to go and collect salt water?
Yeah, of course I have. But, you know, the human shit and tampons puts me off.
Oh, is it? It's not a clean beach then? I thought it
was
pristine.
It was.
You know that toilet on Train Spotting when it climbs into it?
Yes.
Isn't it funny that's where everybody goes? That everyone goes to the toilet and fucking Train Spotting.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, Bratty Beach was the most highly polluted beach in Scotland for a while. Quite a good record to hold, I would say.
That is your local beach, is it?
Yes. It's not anywhere near that. It turned out that the pipes pumping the poo out to the sea wasn't far enough, and the current was just bringing it straight back to the beach.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
A meter high deep foam, you know, nature's process.
Is that why you've got gills behind your ears then and webbed feet from being as a kid?
Yeah, you would go to paddle, and my grandma would be like, "Get out of there! Get out of there!"
That third ball's making sense now.
Yes. Hey, jealousy.
Oh dear.
Yeah. All right. So obviously you've never collected seawater. I just thought, I'd be very tempted.
I could now. I think it is. Right. It's way cleaner than it's ever.
I mean, I don't think I'd dump it in my display, but I'd be tempted to set up a separate tank just to see.
I'd be tempted to take some samples and send an ICP away, to be totally honest. Yeah, see what happens.
It'd be interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Is anyone still watching, Tom?
Yeah, 25 people still watching. Yeah, wow. 25 going strong.
See you falling asleep.
Commitment on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
So how many different species do you stock at the minute, Ron? What's your plan with the growth? What's it looking like? What's your plans?
Because this was never planned as a business of any form at all. It's snowballed and snowballed and snowballed. So my passion is Acropora currently, or Acropora, depending on how pedantic you want to be.
Yeah. Tenuous or tenuous?
Say it again?
Is it a tenuous or is it a tenuous?
Oh, it's a tenuous. It can't be a tenuous. Who says tenuous? So yeah, but I am definitely, my LFS in particular is just desperate for LPS. So Goniopora being one of the biggest, torches, hammers, things like that.
Yeah.
It's not, I'm not majorly passionate about them. I mean, I love them. They're great. But, you know, I'm more into SPS. But no, I've got Goniastria, Liptastria, Acropora. I've got some Euphilia. I've got some Lobophilia. I've got some acans. I know their names has been changed. Montipora, Ceratopora, multiple colours of Ceratopora and multiple colours of Stylophora as well. So yeah, it's quite a big range. Quite a big range of stuff. But I'm going to be growing it over time.
Nice. Because male out of corals is up your way, isn't he? I'm sure he's
over on the East Coast. I've never met him, don't know anything about him.
But
I got a lot of my corals from him in the early days. Some of the easier stuff to grow, things like that.
Oh, I didn't know he was up there.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah. I don't know about him, but I've had some really good corals from him.
Right.
What are you running on your systems then in terms of dosing? What's your 2-part calcium reactive, calquacid? What's your?
Well, I was up until 3 or 4 weeks ago using the Red Sea Foundation A, B, and C, along with Tropic Marin A and K. But I've just started making my own alkalinity, so it's definitely going to be changing things price-wise massively. And I strongly recommend people look into it. You don't need to be a scientist, a chemist, or a biologist. Send Rob or I a message, and we'll talk you through it. You can save hundreds of pounds.
It's a big saving.
A massive saving. And I've since changing, I've run it for 2 weeks. I'm now sending a Fonamarin ICP total away, just to double check that where I'm sourcing my chemicals from are definitely clean enough and there's nothing going to be starting to build up. Because that obviously there's a risk that there might be something in it.
Yeah,
sorry, I missed it.
I'll be very surprised.
Earphones died. What did you say you'd gone from? Foundation to what was it? The earphones died.
The alkalinity from Red Sea. I'm now just making my own.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah, just buying the alk online and mixing it.
Yes.
It's just a simple way to save money, isn't it? At the end of the day.
And it's so simple. It's RO water and 1 white powder. You mix it up. Chat GPT, along with Rob, gave me the dilution rate to go for to get it as close to the Red Sea version as well. And it's been absolutely amazing. So thank you, Rob.
Here to help.
Oh.
Or hinder, however I feel on the day. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go get a black marker pen and draw a line around my tank just for you, Rob.
Yeah, I mean, next stream, it's just big black line.
Big black marker line.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you got. I mean, you could just. I'm not telling you how to reef, obviously, but just go right. Bottom of the power head, done. That's
no. Let me give.
Hello. I'll push the button.
Somebody's rustled some jimmies.
I don't always do the same percentage because it's based on how much salt I've got left.
Right, multiple lines then, Tom.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah. Do you know how a ruler works?
Yeah, like a beaker. Just.
Yeah, I should just get myself like the old stick-on temperature things you used to get on tanks.
Yeah,
just have one of those down the side, the left-hand side, next to the power heads. Yeah, actually, 100 litres, 200 litres. Yeah,
that's it. Perfect. So you don't think you're ever going to go to auto water changes then? Is it difficult to run the line out somewhere?
Yeah,
is that the problem? Yeah.
It's that, and I also really like the idea of. I say this because I did it on Friday and I don't have to do it today, but I just like how it keeps me in tune with the tank. I just think that in terms of it keeps you involved.
What you're saying, yeah. But I do, like I say, I do both. But because I was doing 300 litres a week manually. I now do 200 litres automatically, and the last 100 litres I do manually, just to siphon out the detritus in the tank. So you still get a bit of connection. Just rather than taking me an hour and 20 or whatever, it takes me 20 and just gives me more time to do other stuff, because it's quite boring. After you suck the detritus out, you're just waiting to change water then.
Yeah.
So, you can just cut that down. But I mean, I understand because your tank is in the kind of middle of your land, so I'd imagine getting that water away from it.
It's
Easy peasy with a dosing lines.
I mean, they push a long way.
Yes, it's unbelievable, Tom, honestly.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're changing water so slowly, there's no fluctuations in levels or temperatures or anything. It's just coming out, going back in. And with the new quiet drive Neptune doses as well, they sounded like a foundry. They were so noisy.
Yeah, they were noisy.
Quiet versions were almost...
I actually got it in a with some other kit. Actually, I bought off a guy who was shutting down a few years ago. It's a Kamoa water changer, brand new in a box, never used. So yeah, something.
Is that from Lee? Is that from Lee? Was it? Is that from Lee?
No.
Lee's mum.
Lee's mum's cupboard.
No, I don't know anyone who's gone automatic water change and gone back. That's all I'm going to say.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it's just simple.
It's a one-way street.
Yeah. And like I say, you don't have to do 100% of what you want to change, do you? If you still want to interact with your tank.
I told him this. Yeah.
People do wonder why they've waited so long. A little bit similar to that is your roller filter. It's like, why was I messing around with dirty shit covered socks?
Yeah.
Well, my missus, who's stood at the side of me, absolutely hated the roller filter, so that had to go.
Is it smelly?
Yeah, smell of it, yeah, I could smell it.
Really?
Yeah. Just smell the crap, just suspended. Yeah.
I assume you do know you've not to shit in it, and that's just not going to work.
Yeah, that's going to cause problems.
It's got his limit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing I would say about it, none of those ones you plumb into the sump, like the Red Sea, the Clara Sea, what's the other one called? There's another one there, I can't remember. None of them X-filter, that's it. None of them enclose that roll, do they, in a box? Like, because my one, like I said, mine rolls up and it goes through a tiny little slot into a sealed box. So obviously there's no smell.
Lined with silk.
It is, yeah. It's got little neon lights, and in the corner there's a bar.
Jeeves comes in with a little fan, just waft that away from you, sir. Don't want that going up your nose.
Yeah, got little Jedi warriors. Did any Actasia turn up? And just
little bit of perfume. There you go, sir. There you go.
That's it. Yeah. But anyway. I mean, I guess their argument is when it comes out, it's meant to dry and not smell, isn't it? I think that's what they say. But I mean, I think you're the first person, actually, Tom, that's said it smells.
It counts. She used to know straight away. She used to say that stinky smell. So yeah,
it's just like snorting lines of coke off the top of the roll or something. How does she get that close to smell it?
Also, I thought you had a dog. Can you not blame all the farts on the dog? Oh, come on.
No, we the first roller filter I got was the Clarity, like Gen 1 or whatever it was when it first came out. And then I had numerous frustrations with the motor locking or whatever, jamming.
Yeah.
And then it got to a point where the Clarity was just collected all the shit out of the tank. And I was like, no, you're meant to take it out of the tank, not just collect it. Because like all the, I don't know what you call it, well, like the housing of it was just it was just collecting around it. We just
I found the filter tube at the end used to block quite frequently in mine when I used it as well. I wasn't a big fan of the Clarity. It had issues, I think.
The motors kept breaking, so I had to take the motor apart, and then I've had a few issues with roller.
You sit there, wouldn't you? And you go, what's that noise in the background? And that sodding little
tiny little beat.
Yeah.
Tiny little beat.
Yeah. Drive you mad. Yeah. Yeah. But I don't know I've heard good things about the Red Sea one.
They just look taking it in and out, don't they?
It's not as easy as that.
No,
it is not as easy as that. There's more to it. I've just changed my second roll ever, and I've got the time way down. But the first one I was like, I'm gonna have to watch a YouTube video on how to just but it is definitely easier than the Clarisy. You know, the Clarisy, you've got to staple the old roll to the new roll.
Yeah, pull it all through, and
yes,
yeah.
And then the staples come off.
Yeah, and it was quite hard to clean and just get into it. I found the Clarisy one, like when that sort of slotted bar at the bottom used to just fill up with rot.
Yeah, but who in the right mind when you first bought that? Bearing in mind they were what, 200 quid, something like that. The third generation. Who in their right mind would send you that through the post like a fucking Airfix kit that you had to
482 unhandy parts?
You had to peel all that stuff off.
You didn't even take the protective. Yeah.
Charge me 200 quid and I've got to build it myself. Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, Tom's getting quite animated about this.
Oh, he does. You want to talk about Reef Elements ICP testing if you want to see him. Really.
Let's do that next week. Assuming I'm coming on.
I was going to say, you're a bit presumptive there, Ron.
Anyway. I'm going to wrap this up now. I've 3 hours. 3 hours.
Anyone still watching? Thanks. That's amazing.
Thank you ever so much, Ron, for joining us. It's been emotional.
It's been great fun. Thank you so much for having the bollocks to invite such a mutant as myself on.
Are you going to come on next Sunday? Join me and Rob?
I don't know. I'll allow you to fake this invite live and then send me abuse.
Josh is not here next week, is he?
Josh isn't on next week. He's doing the Great North Run for charity.
Good lad.
Yeah, good lad. I hope it goes well, Josh, if you are listening and you do watch this back. But for everybody else, thanks for joining us. Drop us a comment of anything you want to talk about next Sunday. I'm sure we'll go off topic, or these two will, and I'll try and get it back on track. If you want to join Ron's channel, that's the link to it there. So pause and copy that, follow that link. But no, it's been great, mate. It's been great having you on. Thanks for joining us. Hope to talk to you more after this stream. I'd love to know more about the farm and what you're doing. Really interested in that. And Rob, thanks for making up that space as always.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll let you enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I know you've got other things to go with. Thanks ever so much. And give us a like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week. Other than that, enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for joining us. See you next week.
Cheers, everybody.